Hey, what time is it? It's Podblast time! That's right, it's Podblast time! Hope everybody's doing well out there. We've got a pretty good topic for you today. My partner in crime, Al Hardy, is staining his deck, so he's not available today. However, I have on good assurance he'll be back next week. We'll be in the fabulous Al Hardy Studios with a special guest from California, Mr. Tim Walker. He's an animator with Warner Brothers, and he has a great story to tell as well as a book. He's published several books, but he's going to talk about his book, Shaken Not Broken, An Artist's Journey Through Hell. We are live right now on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're listening at fistfulofradio.com, I have a lot of visual aids today as we talk about sex symbols. Sex symbols in film, music, movies, and sports. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so I hope you can join the discussion. Leave a Facebook comment, which I'll read on the air, or call us at 770-438-1050. It's a little bit difficult to do this by myself, so I'm going to just start by saying that there's a difference between someone that's sexy and someone that's cute. I'm neither, by the way. But there is a total difference. I mean, like, for instance, Taylor Swift is cute. Goldie Hawn is cute. Elizabeth Shue is cute. They're all cute. However, you've got Ursula Andress, Sofia Vergara, Phoebe Cates, Madonna. Yes, Madonna was sexy. That's my contention. And Marilyn Monroe. Those are sexy celebrities throughout history. And I didn't judge. This isn't based on what I think. This is history judging these people. These are opinions throughout the ages, throughout the decades. Some are more recent, and some are golden, from the golden age of Hollywood. So I'll start with my list. This is going to be a very broad topic. Get it? Broad? A broad topic. But we're going to talk about men, too. I'm not going to just have this be about the women. I want this to appeal to our female audience members as well. So I have a list, and I have a lot of stories about some male sex symbols in sports, movies, and TV. And actual models, too. So let's get started with the sex symbols of TV, music, sports, and movies. You got to start with Marilyn Monroe, the classic pinup girl, and she was the first, did you know this, the first Playboy centerfold and nude model. She was on the first cover of the first edition of Playboy magazine. And, of course, Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles, California. She's a California girl and just the epitome of a sex symbol. She died, by the way, you know, everyone knows about the mysterious circumstances of her death. She died August 4th, 1962, allegedly of an overdose from barbiturates. And this happened between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. on that evening of August 4th, 1962. But a lot of people think it was murder. She was involved with the Kennedys, John F. Kennedy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying you can do the research yourself. There's been almost an infinite number of movies and books written about the Marilyn Monroe tragedy. But it's always going to be marred in mystery, like so many other mysterious deaths, like George Reeves, the TV Superman, and the like. Now, she was married to James Dougherty from 1942 to 1946, and of course, Joe DiMaggio, 1954 to 1955, only lasted about a year. And then she married Arthur Miller from 1956 to 61. Did you know, though, she was just a factory worker when she was discovered. She was working in a factory, and she was discovered by a World War II photographer who was in the first unit. And so she started as a successful pinup model. And for those that don't know that are younger, a pinup is basically a poster, like you'll see in the background. Anyone watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, you'll see some posters and some pictures of some sex symbols that I've put up. But a pinup is basically a poster. So a lot of mechanics, you know, you can imagine car mechanics. You've seen it in movies. You've seen it in real life. You know that they'll have a sexy chick in a bikini like Christy Brinkley, or throughout the years. You know, and more modern ones, probably Beyonce. But you know, there's a sexy pinup, and Marilyn Monroe was known for that. So yeah, she was just a factory worker, just like someone else I'm going to mention later, Dorothy Stratton. Actually, she worked at a Dairy Queen when she was discovered. That's the thing. I mean, there's good-looking people out in real life, like here in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and out in California. There's such attractive people. It's like unreal. I mean, so many people should be in movies, and so many people that are in movies shouldn't be. On the other side of the coin, they just got lucky. Either there was nepotism, or they have talent. I mean, I like character actors. Those are my favorite kind of actors, the ones that just have a character face, that are versatile. Those are my favorite people to watch. And, oh, by the way, my list of guys, I think the women will like this one. I'll get to that in just a little bit. But continuing on, I'm going to start and continue with the golden age of Hollywood. And Marilyn Monroe, getting back to her and her being a pinup model, you know, she did start the sexual revolution. She was very, very historic in that regard. And she actually studied actor under Lee Strasberg. Those in the know who Lee Strasberg is, and his daughter Susan Strasberg. But he started an acting technique. And it's really, really a very powerful form of acting. And she studied under him. So she actually tried to hone her talents and become, you know, a very prolific actress. Let's see. Her films grossed over $200 million, which in today's terms would be about $2 billion. So that's huge. She was the queen of the golden age of Hollywood, as many say. And, I guess The 7-Year Itch was her most successful film from 1955. And I remember, I'm a child of the 80s, so I remember when Madonna paid tribute to Marilyn Monroe in her music video Material Girl. And she patterned it after her movie. That was a pretty cool music video. And then I guess her most critically acclaimed movie was Bus Stop. And that was her most critically acclaimed performance in 1956. And she won a Golden Globe Award for Some Like It Hot in 1959. She died of barbiturates, allegedly, an overdose of barbiturates, at the young age of 36. So that's pretty young. Let's see. Jane Mansfield. She's also on my list here, and she was born Vera Jane Palmer. And she lived from April 19th, 1933 until June 29th, 1967. Got a call. Let's see who this could be. Nostalgic Podblast, who is this and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's BK. I'm calling from the planet Earth.
Hey, Barry King of BK on the Air, WBHF, Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. till noon, and everywhere you can find podcasts, including fistfulofradio.com. I noticed they archived all your last 2 months of shows that you've done on Fistful. BK Replay.
Great. I saw that too, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'm loving being a part of fistfulradio.com. So you're on sex symbols today. Sex symbols.
That's right. Not in movies, TV, sports, musicians, everything. Men and women. What you got, man? Who are your favorites? You're probably going to duplicate who's on my list, and that's okay, because we are of the same mind. We're cousins. We're nostalgic cousins.
We are. I think it would take an hour and a half to go through every one of them that I have in my 55 years of well, not 55 years, because I really did start noticing, girls until like 11 or 12 years old, I think. So you have to subtract that from it. But I figured I would pick three from three different eras. I think there has never been. It's all beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I know that. But the most beautiful woman, I think, now in celebritydom for me, after all these years of gathering info, looking, and using a keen eye and checking everything out, I think that Grace Kelly was one of the most beautiful women that ever lived.
She's on my list too.
I mean, she's beyond. You just look at photos of her, and if you could see a photo of Grace Kelly, like from a Hitchcock film, or just to take a picture of her from the 50s or whatever at her height, you could just drop it today, and she would fit and just beat just about anybody from today, because she has that. She's been gone for a while. Later on, she became Princess Grace of Monaco, but she has that eternal. She just had that eternal beauty. I
bet you would. Back then, if you had a time machine, right?
Right. I don't know what she had, but she had an eternal beauty that I think to this day has been unequaled. That's my classic one that I got to throw out there. And for me, it would be of all time as well. But from the 70s, my go-to sex symbol as a kid was always Farrah Fawcett. And at the time, it was Farrah Fawcett Majors because she's married to Lee Majors. And that was our power couple in the 70s. Everyone has the couples they remember. They weren't together very long, really. But to me, Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors to me was that quintessential couple in the 70s.
1973 to 82. That's kind of long.
Yeah, I guess it is. Not by, I got Hollywood standards, it's shorter.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right. But I was still, sometimes I still mistakenly refer to her as Farrah Fawcett Majors because I heard her name as that for so many years. But she was the Charlie's Angel. That was always my favorite, and she's the one that I think I had the most trading cards and the most posters of, and the iconic poster of her in the bathing suit from the side, where she's got her knee up there. I don't know how many that sold, but that was my favorite in the 70s, just as a kid. She really, Farrah Fawcett really helped me through puberty.
Oh God. Oh, okay.
So there's two. Now the more later one, the one that I had a big crush on recently is an English actress. Number one, if you've got a British accent, you're gonna reel me in anyway, because that's just an added bonus for some reason for us in the States here. But my big crush recently over the past years, the first thing I saw her in was I know she was in stuff before this, but the first Daniel Craig James Bond movie, Eva Green. She's British, she's mysterious, she's a brunette, and there's just something about her, and I crushed on her for quite a while. It was an adult crush, and Eva Green is fantastic, and I always really liked her. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Eva Green from Casino Royale, from the Daniel Craig Casino Royale film.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha.
She had blonde hair in the Tim Burton remake of The Addams Family with Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp, which wasn't very good, but she was very good in it. She looked great. But yeah, Eva Green she was in that short-lived Netflix cable series Camelot about King Arthur. It was really, really good too. There's something about Eva Green that always flipped my switch. Yeah. So there's too many to mention. I could go on and on, but there's three from three different eras that I really, really always still like. Olivia Newton-John was another one.
She's on my list. Oh yeah.
She's still, a lot of them are still, I don't know how old they are today, but she's another one of those where I think she has a painting of herself locked in an attic. She still has that eternal youth beauty to her still.
And she's a cancer survivor. You know, Olivia Newton-John, she's battled breast cancer for years, and it's come back, and we wish her all the luck in the world battling that disease.
Now, she's battling it now, that's right. And Linda Carter, I mean, what can you say about Linda Carter? She was our go-to as well for many years. So many sex symbols, great show today, listening as you go. And
thank you. She's behind me right now, by the way. Linda Carter and Farrah Fawcett. Yeah, I don't know if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, but I have some still pictures in the background. I put on some comic boxes in my collection.
And I don't know if Alan Sanders is listening today, but he may be checking in or listening. But I can tell you who his is. He might tell you in the text. But Alan always really liked, from the classic days, Alan loved Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, yeah, on my list. And she could sing, too. She's a multi-talented person.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot she was married to Michael Anasara back in the day, too. The guy who played Kang on the Star Trek episode, the classical Star Trek episode, and was on her show Jeannie as
the Blue Djinn.
I can't remember the name. The blue skin Genie.
And he played another character in another episode, but yes, it was the Blue Djinn in the first Color episode, season 2 premiere. I Dream of Jeannie.
And Alan's recent crush nowadays is Charlize Theron. That's who he likes now. So,
oh yeah.
Another good one. So there's just a few I threw out there. We all love them. And,
no Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, I like Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, but you know, out of the Marvel ladies now, I think Elizabeth Olsen probably does more for me than Scarlett does. I just love the Elizabeth that plays the Scarlet Witch.
I love her too. I put her in the cute category though, not the sexy. That's just me. In my opinion, she's cute, not sexy. But she can be sexy, but
yeah, it's all personal in the eye of the beholder. One person may think one is better than the other. You're right. Nothing wrong with that. They're all pretty.
Well, I want to quickly, I don't want to digress from the main topic of sex symbols, but you had mentioned your show, the new Ultraman movie that was announced. And I think that's a huge mistake. Let me explain. I think they should have gone with Space Giants before they went with Ultraman. I don't think it's going to succeed. I think Marvel has too much competition. I don't know. That's my prediction. I hope it does succeed. I just don't think it's going to do well. I think it'll be like Speed Racer in 2007, was it? The live action Speed Racer, it didn't do well. I don't know. Hope I'm wrong.
Well, this Ultraman's not live action. It is animated. It's going to be animated with ILM and the Japanese company doing the effects and the look of it, from what I hear.
I didn't know it was a cartoon and not live action.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, then that makes a big difference, actually, because it could be like Spider-Verse.
Right, and I agree with you. The only way the part I disagree with on the Space Giant is where you and I would love to see a Space Giant. I don't know how. I think our age range are the only people that know. I think there's a lot broader audience that knows about Ultraman than they do about Space Giant.
You might be right about that, but I think it appeals to kids so much because you had Gam, the robot rocket boy, the first Transformer, I might add. I think there were Lugo men that would appeal to kids. I think it could be done with modern effects and have just a great appeal to children. That's my thinking there, because you had that child who was pretty much a superhero child, and you don't see that too much. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Right. Well, and not only do we have that to look forward to, we've got a new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe coming out as well. It's being worked on in pre-production too. So a lot of new stuff on the horizon, plus all the Marvel stuff. I'm looking forward to all that stuff coming out.
Man, me too. Are you enjoying the weather today? It's so nice in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I hate to be inside.
No, it is great. You won't be inside long. Just get out when you're done with the show. Get out there and enjoy some of it.
What I'm going to do, my brother. What else you got? Anything else?
Get you some vitamin D from that sunshine. No, that's it, man. Just loving the show. We'll see everybody on Saturdays and on the weekends on Fistful Radio. Glad to be a part of it. Glad to be nostalgic cousins with you in the Nostalgic Podblast. Always.
And we're bookends with each other, because you're on at 8:30 in the morning on Fistful of Radio, Saturdays and Sundays, 90-minute time slot, and then you're on at 5 p.m. after us, 2 to 5 p.m. You're on at 5 o'clock in the evening, Saturday and Sunday, Atlanta time, Eastern Daylight Time.
Fun meeting a lot of listeners at the meet and greet this week up in Cumming, Georgia. It was great seeing the fistfulofradio.com listeners meet. That was great. Had a good time.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Good deal. And it was nice to meet Kim Ponder and a lot of other folks that showed up.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Well, awesome. Well, I will let you go, my brother. Thanks for calling in, and I'll call into your show next Saturday. Are you on vacation like Alan is next week?
No, I'm not on vacation. I'll be in for 5 hours on Alan's show and during my show, and Walk into Darkness will be there as well. We'll be pumping out five hours of talk radio next Saturday morning into the DHF. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'll be tuning in, man.
All right, man. Let's go this weekend. Bye.
All right, sounds good. All right, have a good day. All right, have a great week. Bye. BK on the air, Barry King. I think he's a really good host, and I enjoy their program. Check them out, BK on the air, and you can find it pretty much anywhere that you listen to your podcast. He's everywhere. He's on Apple and everywhere else. So let's get on with the list here. Continuing on, I started to talk about Jane Mansfield. She was born Vera Jane Palmer, and she lived from April 19th, 1933 until June 29th, 1967. And she was just another major sex symbol who had a movie contract with 20th Century Fox. And she was another early Playboy playmate. And she experienced a lot of the original wardrobe malfunctions, like Janet Jackson had at the Super Bowl halftime show with Justin Timberlake back in the day. Well, Jane Mansfield had a bunch of those on camera. I think one of the, who was the girl from the American Pie movies? Oh, had the ultimate wardrobe malfunction where her boob is hanging out, literally, while Tara Reid, actress Tara Reid, not the other Tara Reid, and she's sitting there smiling obliviously, and her breast is hanging out. And I think it's because of all the silicone. She couldn't feel the air. That's why she didn't know that she was partially disrobed. But let's see. Jane Mansfield died at only 34 years of age. But get this. She had 5 kids. 5 children. And sadly, She died in New Orleans, Louisiana, due to brain trauma in an automobile crash. I guess a lot of you folks out there know that. We have a very educated audience. This isn't new news to you, but to those that don't know, she did die due to injuries resulting from an automobile crash. And she rests at the Fairview Cemetery in Pennsylvania. And she was born, let's see, she was born in Idaho. Yeah, born in Idaho. Interesting. And and she married Mr. Universe. Mr. Universe. Mickey, I'm probably going to screw up the pronunciation of his last name, Hargitay from 1958 to 1964, and then Matt Simber from 1964 to 66, and they divorced in 66. So let's see here. Interesting, yeah. Now, the next one on my list, Lana Turner. She was another pinup girl, and I remember watching The Honeymooners, and I guess one of the writers had a thing for Lana Turner because Ed Norton, Art Carney's Ed Norton, would always reference Lana Turner and go, boom, boom, boom. Lana Turner, let's go to the movies, Ralphie boy, let's see Lana's new movie. He had a thing for Lana Turner, and she was born Julia Jean Turner on February 8th, 1921, and she died on June 29th, 1995, so she lived a while. And she had a 50-year career. She was a star of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM, contract gal. In the mid-1940s, she was one of the highest paid actresses in the United States, earning $50 million in her 18-year contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Man, that's something. And that's money back then. But let's see. Her family moved. Her family moved from Idaho to San Francisco when she was a young girl. And she was discovered while buying a soda pop at the Top Hat Malt Shop in Hollywood, California, when she was just 15 years old. Had she stayed in Idaho, she'd never have become a pop culture icon. Never would have happened. Now, fun fact, I say fun fact facetiously, her teenage daughter, Cheryl Crane, stabbed her lover, Johnny Stompanat, to death in their home in 1958 during a domestic struggle. Man, true story, folks. Yeah, that's pretty vicious there. Stabbed him to death with a knife. And of course, Lana Turner, I think one of her best known movies is The Postman Always Rings Twice, which was released in '81 with Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange, who's also on my list as one of the great sex symbols of movies. So I'm pretty much starting with movies, and then I'll get into musicians and TV stars. But, we got another good one here. What does this name mean to you? Joe Raquel Tejada. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Tejada. Tejada. Well, that's Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch. Oh, man, born June 5th, 1940 in Chicago, Illinois. And, of course, she gained attention in 1966 in a movie called Fantastic Voyage that 20th Century Fox had put out. And that's where people go inside a living organism, and they're like shrunk down. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's kind of like the original Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie. And so that was her big break. So that was shot in 1965 on the Fox lot. And I remember Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the first color episode, they used the sets. Irwin Allen was notoriously cheap. And Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was a 20th Century Fox series, and Fantastic Voyage was a Fox feature. So he used the doggone sets while they were shooting that movie. Jonah and the Whale was the episode of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea where they go inside the whale, hence the title. And he reused all those sets. Let's see what's going on in Facebook land. See if we have any comments here. John Lombardi, he's one of our new great members. Man, I love everything he posts in our Facebook group, The Nostalgic Podblast. Yeah, he says Jenny also. And then, hey, Wesley Millsap. Hey, Chance, checking in from Ackworth. Well, hey, Wesley, how's it going? Thanks for checking in on this gorgeous day. I know there's a lot of other things you could be doing. Thanks for checking in. But Raquel Welch, getting back to her, her success in Fantastic Voyage led to 20th Century Fox lending her contract to the British studio Hammer Horror, who made 1 Million Years BC. That was the classic poster of Raquel Welch in a prehistoric fur, right? And people my age remember it from being in the prison cell in the Shawshank Redemption. Remember that poster? That's Raquel Welch. She was so sexy, and she's still alive, thank the Lord. I'm afraid I'm going to jinx these people that I love when I mention that. Like, we did a James Bond pod blast. Said, oh, great, Sean Connery, the great Sean Connery's still alive, unlike Roger Moore. That kind of settles the debate. Kind of a stupid, mean kind of joke. And then he died like a week later, Sean Connery. Rest in peace, man. Sean Connery and Sir Roger Moore, two greats. Anyway, Raquel Welch. So, little known fact from my head that I wrote down, this isn't something I got off Wikipedia, is that Raquel Welch was in a first season episode of Bewitched, the 9th episode that ever aired, a black and white episode. The first 2 seasons of Bewitched, however you want to say it, were in black and white. And she was in the 9th episode, and she played a flight attendant in an episode called Witch or Wife. Witch like broomstick, witch or wife. And she had a small role in that, and that aired November 5th, 1964, so that would have been before the production of Fantastic Voyage and 1 million years BC. So I could never forget that scene from Shawshank Redemption when the guard throws the pebble at the poster and then realizes, oh crap, he's escaped, and he's dug. Took him all those years through the crap. I'm cleaning up that version of the movie, of the line in the movie. But Morgan Freeman says he went through the shit. Whoop, got a call. Just a second.
Call from the Karen Conrad.
Ah, the Nostalgic Podblast. Is this Danny?
It is. How you doing, Jan?
I'm doing fine, man. It's a little tough doing this by myself. The wizard Al Hardy is staining his deck, one of his decks today, and he did yesterday. He was hoping he could get it all done yesterday, but he couldn't. So before the rain comes, he's doing that today. But he'll be back next week. We're going to be at his studio, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for that show about animated features with our special guest, Tim Walker.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. So today's topic, we're talking about, like, sex symbols.
Absolutely. It could be in movies, TV, sports, music, anything. As long as they're famous. It could be a model, Christy Brinkley. Who do you have in mind, my brother?
Well, okay, like, first of all, of the 3 Charlie's Angels, where were you at?
Jacqueline Smith and Barry King had called in to mention Farrah. She's on my list. I'll give out some factoids about Farrah Fawcett Majors, Farrah Fawcett O'Neill. Well, they never actually... Yeah, they did get married. Anyway, yes, she's on my list, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. What are your fond memories of Farrah?
Well, I mean, you know, I've got a soft spot for blondes, but I actually...
As do I.
Like, you know, the brunettes, they rule that show.
You mean after Farrah departed after season 1? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean the original 3. There was the 2 brunettes and Farrah. She was the only blonde-haired.
She was the token blonde. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Okay, now here's another one. Three's Company. Were you...
You can just say, yes, Suzanne Summers is on my list. The Ace Hardware girl for a while, but go on. I don't care if you repeat, brother. You just speak your mind. You have the floor.
Were you on, it was like Chrissy or, what was the other chick's name on the show?
Well, you had Janet.
Yeah, Janet, yeah.
She went to my college, Marshall University. I minored in theater, and she majored in theater. She was the only successful actor to come out of that school. Yeah. Joyce DeWitt.
I mean, to me, like, sometimes, the sex symbols are, like, the not obvious ones. So, like, Gilligan's Island. Are you Team Ginger or Team Mary?
Well, I was always Team Ginger. But I like Mary Ann. I like the girl next door. That's cute. At the top of the show, you may not have been listening. I said there's 2 categories. There's cute, and then there's sexy. Ginger, of course, was sexy. Mary Ann was cute, but she's the one you want to marry, right? She's not going to have 7 divorces like Liz Taylor, right?
Right.
The Mary Ann type.
So, I mean, also, it's probably, the costume that they wore. You know, I'm sure if you put Mary Ann in some, skin-tight, slinky little dress, but she was, like, midriffing for days. With her little tied-up shirt and stuff. That was, like, incredibly sexy.
That's right. Hey, and our listener is echoing your sentiments. Our great listener friend Wesley Millsap says Kate Jackson is Sabrina Duncan on Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. I mean, a movie is like, you know, more recently, well, I guess recent is a subjective term. Kate Beckinsale really stoked the fires. I think I first saw her in the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman.
Right on. Yeah, she's hot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, yeah.
That's why she's in the movies.
I mean, it helps. I mean, going back, it's like, yeah, you know, like Bo Derek, Heather Thomas, you know, all these were, you know, great sex symbols. You know, here's one. Olivia Newton-John.
Barry, our previous caller mentioned her, but she's on my list. What you got? I agree completely with you guys.
I have a very clear memory where I had some money and I went to, you remember this, in Marietta, like there was Turtles, records and tapes.
Yeah, and Peaches before that, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, I had enough money to go buy a record. And at that point, I mean, it was probably like, I don't know, early 80s. And there was a new Kiss album, Creatures of the Night. And I'm a big Kiss fan, so I wanted to get that. But there was the Olivia Newton-John album with the hit single Physical. And in the record, there was like this poster that came with it of her. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, by today's standards, it was like very tame. But like, you know, I put the poster on the ceiling above my bed of Olivia Newton-John.
Keep it clean. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Yep. I always remember, like, dude, your mom was so cool. I'm going to give a shout out to Judy Bartels here. That, like, she would let Chance have Playboy centerfold, but they put, like, little post-it notes over the naughty bit.
I forgot about that.
No, yeah. And I mean, like, it's like, that's not, like, really a barrier, you know, like, to lift the post-it note up to see the naughty bit. But, like, your mom was so cool. Like, she let you have, like, a couple, like, you know, Playboy centerfolds in your room. And, like, yeah, there's, like, these little, like, yellow post-it notes above the naughty bit. And I thought that was, like, really cool that your mom, you know, didn't wasn't a thorn.
She didn't throw it away like a lot of moms would do.
Yeah, no, I mean, she understood, like, you know, here's my teenage son. And she understood a certain sort of biological imperative and desires on the young teenage boy. And, you know, while she didn't indulge it to a extreme way, it's like she allowed it. And I thought that was, like, really cool.
And I'm still in that phase mentally. I'm kidding. Now, I have a couple Playboys I'm going to hold up for the camera, just covers, not anything nude. I'm keeping this clean today. But, you know, it's funny, Danny. When I would listen to Howard Stern, he would always make jokes about doing something inappropriate with himself while watching these TV stars. I never did that. You know what I'm saying? I just admired these actresses, these quote-unquote hot actresses from afar in a natural way. You know what I'm saying? I just like watching them. You know what I mean? Anyway, but that is funny about what you said about Mom. Now, the Playboys are another matter. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of some of, like, those early 80 movies.
Your brother had the Heather Thomas poster, the pink bikini that's behind me. I remember your brother Tim had that.
My older brother Tim had it, yeah. Oh, dude, here's one. Morgan Fairchild.
On my list, but yeah, I agree, man. God, Samantha made me get rid of a film print of The Seduction, that movie she did, where she is stalked by this guy. She's like a TV anchor in that movie, The Seduction, from 1982 or something. And this guy Stevens played the stalker. Remember that? Huh?
Is that the one where, like, there's, like, this sort of scene of pool?
In a hot tub, yes, where...
Yeah,
They're making love, and then the psycho stabs a dude in the back right when he's climaxing. That was bizarre.
Well, I mean, it shows our age, but it's like back in the day, it's like, we're having like a special night, we're hanging out, and like, whether watching like HBO or Showtime, before the beginning of the movie, it'd be like, this movie has been rated R for, vulgarity, violence, partial nudity. We're like, boom, that's the one.
Yeah. That was the beauty of having HBO. We were privileged to have HBO and Showtime. That's pre-internet, you know what I'm saying? That was pretty cool. I remember I watched that damn Blue Lagoon many times.
Well, I mean, so we sit through like these god-awful movies for like, some, 5-second glimpse.
Private School, Hot Dog the Movie. I could go on and on. Give Me an F. That was a cheerleader, teen, R-rated sex comedy. The ultimate. Porky's, Kim Cattrall. Yeah.
Animal House.
That's I think the definitive. Yeah. Animal House. We've talked about it before, but Revenge of the Nerds.
Yep. I mean, and now it's like, comparatively, where it's like for real, like here's this like 3-second on film, some girl's boobs. I mean, it's nothing now. But we were young, we had hormones, we were really interested. I'm trying to think, like, to give, I guess fair play. I was talking to my wife about it, where like People Magazine does like, the sexiest man alive, and and there's Sean Connery or whoever, the male sex symbol.
Well, Brad Pitt's on my list. I'll get to the men in a little bit. I might after you. Well, I could go through some of the dudes right now while you're on the phone if you want to.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Brad Pitt, so I want to stand on my soapbox here. Like, Brad Pitt. I don't think I'm wrong. His first film was Thelma and Louise, where he played the dude that, one of the girls like hooked up with in the hotel, and he stole all their money.
Right.
And at the time, they're like, like Brad Pitt, he's the new Robert Redford or whatever. So a part of me where it was like he was touted as, such a male sex symbol, I really was sort of disinterested in him as an actor. But it was like years later where I was like looking at my movie collection, and I'm like, 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt, had it. Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt, had it. Interview with a Vampire, Brad Pitt, have it. And I started to realize that I really did the dude a disservice by pigeonholing him into this, you're this male sex symbol, you're this, buff candy dude, because he picked like really interesting and diverse roles, and he didn't go down that road. You could look at Johnny Depp, 21 Jump Street, where he was sort of the eye candy, I guess, for young teenage girls that watched that TV show.
Someone just commented about him, but he was talking about Captain Dan Sparrow. Dan Neal, Kneale, said that. But go on, I didn't mean to derail you.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that was another surprise where, it's like, okay, he could have played up to that. I mean, he could have been like Brad Pitt the same way. He could have just done, like, romantic comedies, played the male, lead, and vapid movies, but the choices that they made about the movies that they wanted to be in really expanded my respect for them as actors. I'd throw Leonardo DiCaprio into that.
I have a category of real men and girly men. Okay, and I think Leo, I loved his character in Titanic, but and he's definitely, I guess, in real life, a real man. Have you seen the women on his yacht? You know what they call his yachts, don't you? The P yacht. Anyway, I won't go. But
well, I mean, I'm sure in his personal life he has lots of female attention.
Yeah, he's good looking. He's wealthy. He's a star. He's famous, of course. Yes.
But once again, I mean, and he started off acting at a fairly young age. And you know, as he got older, I think it was like where he was.
He did.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt, by the way, started on Dallas, the TV show before Thelma and Louise in 1986. But I digress.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, he was on Dallas the 1986 to 87 season. He was dating Jenna Wade's daughter. Jenna Wade, by the way, was played by someone Wesley mentioned, Priscilla Presley, from the Naked Gun movie franchise and Elvis Presley's bride. Very sexy. She was not on my list, Wesley. Good call. Priscilla Presley. And Angie Dickinson not on my list. Another good call from Wesley.
You know, Naked Gun as like where she's on the ladder and like Leslie is like, hey, nice beaver.
I know, they play that clip all the time on a show that I love, a talk show.
Yeah, that's classic. That's classic.
Danny, let me just say, when it comes to the men, you got to start with Clark Gable. Born William Clark Gable, February 1st in 1901 in Ohio. C-A-D-I-Z. Cadiz, Ohio? Cadiz, Ohio? I don't know. C-A-D-I-Z, Ohio, and he died at 59 years of age. And, man, he's been coined, and I agree, the king of Hollywood. Gone with the Wind.
I think this actually comes earlier. Errol Flynn.
Ooh, yeah, good one.
Yeah. And from
Robin Hood.
Well, he was a partier. He got up to some stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, he played at Robin Hood, and yeah, he was a very early male sex symbol.
Wait, hey, Becky Ross Smith says Leonardo DiCaprio has never been a sex symbol to me.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own taste.
Yeah, there's no wrong answers, right? It's an opinion. Opinions are like rear ends. Everybody's got one.
I mean, I'm sure there was lots of was it like the magazine for girls, like 16?
Tiger Beat.
17. You know, I'm sure there's lots of girls out there that had a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio, and
He was on Growing Pains, right? With Joanna Carnes or something. Yeah. Anyway.
See, I didn't know that. I was like, dude, you're such a wealth of knowledge. It's always fun to talk to you because I learn new things all the time.
What a nice thing to say.
No, it's true, man. I'm sure you talked about Bo Derek.
Not yet. See, I just got it started. I was going in chronological order. I only made it to Raquel Welch, but she's on the list, as well as John Derek's other lovely wives, like Ursula Andress and Linda Evans from Dynasty.
Well, I mean, if you want to, like, I mean, I know, you know, Marilyn Monroe.
Already talked about her. Yep, she's the number one. She was the first one I spoke of.
Was like Mae West.
Not on my list. Elaborate.
I mean, it's horrible because it's the only factoid I remember about her. Who was like the blonde bombshell that got decapitated in the car wreck? Mansfield. Jane Mansfield.
Well, I talked about it. Yep. It's cool, brother. I already talked about the car wreck. Yep. I didn't say she got decapitated. I just said she died of injuries, terrible injuries in a car crash.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. She lost her head. But
Oh.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it happened.
Let me read some more men real quick, Dan. Hold that thought because Becky's chiming in again. She says, Gerard Butler. Oh, yeah. That's now who turns me on? Gerard Butler. Oh, yes, she says. So let me just get Mick Jagger, who is not an attractive man, but he's sexy because of his talent and his moves. He's got the moves, man.
I don't know, man. If I was a girl, like his big old fish lips. I mean, maybe it's my
All right, well, you're a guy. That's cool. Now here's one I know you couldn't stand when we were kids, but a lot of girls love Duran Duran and Simon Le Bon, lead singer of Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Chime away. Are you gonna slam it? Don't slam him too hard, but girly man, right? Girly man category.
Well, I mean, not as much where at least, and I'm trying to say this.
Not like Nick Rhodes wearing full blown makeup.
I mean, I'm trying to say this like delicately to not be offensive to certain listeners. They seemed heterosexual to me, and you know, where there's people like Ricky Martin, the La Vida Loca.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Or what's his name, George Michael.
Now, see, no one knew he was gay at the time when he hit the scene in 19.
I knew he was gay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I don't care. Like, be gay, be homosexual. I am fine with that.
Becky agrees with you about Mick Jagger, by the way. She says, agree, Daniel, on Mick Jagger.
All right, cool. Got a thumbs up. I got a like. But, like, I remember telling girls, like, about, like, George Michael. Like, especially with like, the, you know, the Gotta Have Faith video. You know, I can't do it, but I can touch your body. I was like, dude, this guy is gay. And, I mean, dude, I love Freddie Mercury to death. Thinking about...
Queen's my favorite band of all time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it makes me cry. I love this dude. So it's not his sexual proclivities.
Thank you for saying that, clarifying.
But like there was girls at a time like where he was a sex symbol, and I'm like, dude, he don't want you. You know?
That poster on your wall. He's kissing a guy named Sal when he goes to bed.
You know, which is fine.
Yeah,
you know?
which is fine.
I mean, who was another one? Was it Cary Grant or Rock Hudson?
Rock Hudson.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do the Eddie Murphy jokes. Eddie Murphy back in the 80s was pretty vicious in his jokes. About, oh, that kiss? You gay friend, you kissed? What? You just, I'm not going to, that's when people thought you could get AIDS from a kiss, which was ignorant. Anyway.
Well, once again, I'm not trying to be vicious about anybody's...
Exactly. No, that's not what the show's about. No, we're inclusive here. Yeah.
I mean, the point that I'm making is I found it somewhat amusing that there was male sex symbols that the female members of society were like, ooh la la, and I'm like, dude, he ain't interested.
Maybe in your brother, but not you.
So, right, man. So I thought that stuff was kind of funny. Where, I mean, like I said, like Ricky Martin was like La Vida Loca, and like girls like, oh no, he's not gay. I'm like, dude, he totally.
And there's nothing wrong with having a bromance. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady, you know, pretty boy, hell of an athlete, of course. And look at his wife Giselle, Victoria's Secret model. She's on my list. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself and off topic, kind of, sort of.
Now, I actually, there was some blurb that popped up on my phone, and it was talking about the volleyball scene in Top Gun.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, Top Gun, which they're remade, which is in the can. Because of COVID, it's been just sitting on a shelf somewhere, the remake. But yes.
I mean, it's like, I mean, I can understand if you're a female and you watch that scene in Top Gun with, you know, Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise, and you probably know the other actors. I just don't. And it was the actor that played Val Kilmer's wingman that he was talking about, I think.
Yeah, the Iceman. Yeah. No.
Well, Iceman was Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I know. The one who died. Oops, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Kelly McGillis is. Yeah.
And you know, and they were talking about, like, you know, there was like sort of a competition to like get buffed up, knowing that scene was coming up. And I can understand is like maybe a female in the 80s, if you go and watch that and here's all this like, you know, oiled, sweaty, rippling muscles playing volleyball, and this is really hot. But there's another lens where you look through that and you're like, wow, this is really homoerotic.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like, patting each other on the butts and stuff. And I'm sure there was a contingency of gay men at that time that watched that scene, and they're like, ooh la la,
Okay.
Well, no, I mean,
I got to continue on, Danny, on my list because I have got a hard stop. I got to keep this to 90 minutes, but I'm not cutting you loose, brother. But let's just move this along a little bit. I mentioned Tom Brady, Joe Namath, another athlete, star quarterback. I think he's a good-looking dude. I can see why chicks would like him. Kevin Bacon, loved the Hollow Man, where he was like a terrible, invisible man, psycho. He was a scientist, and the chemical affected his brain, huh?
was Kevin Bacon a sex symbol?
I think so, with Footloose. I remember being a kid, all the chicks
Oh, okay, all right. I'll
back
do that.
then,
Well, I mean, he was a male lead in that, and there was romance and stuff. Okay, I'll give you that. Now, Kevin Bacon's first movie was Friday the 13th.
No, he was in Animal House before that.
See, dude, you're a wealth of knowledge.
It's okay. Hey, Michael Hopkins says Danny Jane was not decapitated. He's disagreeing with you. It's been a rumor for years. Her wig was found, and it was believed she'd had her head cut off in the impact. She did not have her scalp cut into. Wait. She did have her scalp cut into as part of her injuries. Okay. I wasn't there. I don't know. One of y'all's right, one of y'all's wrong.
Well, I mean, that's sort of, I appreciate.
And Becky says, wow, I believe that rumor. So there's people that believe, like you, that she was decapitated. So I guess it's open to debate.
Well, I mean, the topic is sex symbols, and certainly Jane Mansfield was a sex symbol.
As was Julie Newmar, Catwoman in the old Batman show.
Oh, yeah.
My Living Doll. Before that, she played for one season a doll that could obey the commands. It was like I Dream of Jeannie. The season before I Dream of Jeannie hit, the same season as Bewitched hit in the scene, 64, 65, she played My Living Doll. Where she was just basically, we'll just leave it at that, with everything that implies.
Now, I mean, do you think the girl that played Jeannie in I Dream of Jeannie...
Barbara Eden, yeah. Yes, totally. Absolutely. And that little get-up, they never showed her belly button on NBC. The censors wouldn't allow it, but there's one episode where, at season 3 episode, we actually saw her belly button. They screwed up, and it made the cut. But
I know this one, speaks to lots of, sort of male fantasies. Is Princess Leia in the slave outfit.
Return of the Jedi on the barge, yeah. Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sex symbol. I mean, you get any comic book convention. I mean, that imagery. There was even a Friends episode where Jennifer Aniston puts on the Princess Leia slave outfit and sort of comes in the bedroom with Ross.
Wow, yeah. I remember that on Friends. That was what's his name's fantasy. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was an episode of Friends. But she had to pad down her breasts. That was she finally got George Lucas to let her be sexy in Return of the Jedi. In the first Star Wars, did you know this, Danny? They padded down Carrie Fisher's chest.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, because she's very well endowed, and he wanted to keep it kid friendly, and so yeah, allegedly under George Lucas's orders, her breasts had to be padded down by wardrobe. So, and she was dressed basically in a parka in Empire Strikes Back. I mean, she had one dress in Bespin City, the Cloud City, but I loved in Return of the Jedi. You finally got to see what's under the costume a little bit. Anyway, but she never turned me on. She sexy in that, absolutely. But I just was never really turned on by her. I thought she looked good in Blues Brothers with her hair down, but.
Well, and here's another sort of nuance that sometimes powerful females, beyond I'm showing a lot of skin. I mean, that's very attractive to a lot of people. If you look at Xena.
Less is more, right? You don't want to see everything. I mean, it's sexier, like in the original Star Trek, the costumes, you'd see side boob or something like that. or in Batman, the old show. I think less is more. It's sexier when you don't see everything.
Well, I mean, if you look at, like, say,
William Thies designed those costumes, Star Trek. So.
Like Sarah Michelle Gellar in the Buffy franchise, where, I mean, she was never, portrayed overtly sexy. Certainly the first couple of seasons, because, she's like this cheerleader or whatever. But, the fact that, like, she's a sort of powerful female, I think that has a sex appeal that's different from just, like, what you call, like, jiggle TV.
Yes, Jiggle TV, Charlie's Angels. Yeah, that was an Aaron Spelling creation in ABC TV. Right on, man. So let me just read some more guys for the women out there, and then I'll get back to the women because I'm really pressed for time. I've heard a lot about Sam Elliott with that great voice. A banquet beer, Coors, a banquet beer. I could never do an impression. He's just got such a great, deep, manly man voice. That's a manly man. Sam Elliott. All right, Sebastian Bach. Kind of a girly man, but a good-looking dude, I got to admit. Or he was.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking, I mean, like Mel Gibson, Sean Connery,
Tom Cruise, who you mentioned earlier, is he girl? I think he's more of a. What about Tom Cruise? Where do you categorize him? Girly man or a man's man? I mean, he's a stunt. He does his own stunts. I kind of got to put him in the man category, even though he's a little out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's got a great smile. He articulates very well facially. He's a short dude.
Hey, what you got against that? I'm a little schmuck too. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I didn't think it was like.
You said before, hey, don't judge Chance on his size. You're gonna regret it.
You know, you're huge, man.
What about John Stamos? I remember the chicks loved him when he hit the scene on General Hospital as Blackie. Long before, that was in '81, long before he was on Full House as Uncle Jesse. And of course, to us, Uncle Jesse is the Duke Boys patriarch, Uncle Jesse. That's the real Uncle Jesse, but I digress.
Well, I mean, if you mentioned Duke the Hazard, you got to bring up Daisy Duke.
And she's on my list, Catherine Bach. And how about another Bach, Barbara Bach, Bond girl, still married to Ringo Starr after all these years. They met on the set of Caveman, the movie.
I didn't know that. Like the brunette with like the big attributes.
Yes, from The Spy Who Loved Me, Bond girl, she married Ringo Starr, and they're still married to this day.
All right, well done.
And Sean Connery, who you mentioned, James Garner, manly man, all the way. And I think he's handsome in a bromance kind of way. In his younger years, Maverick.
I remember watching my dad was a big fan of the Rockford Files.
I've got them all on my shelf on DVD all season. And Tom Selleck got to start. Another manly man, handsome guy.
Yeah, Tom Selleck, for sure.
And he was going to be the original Indiana Jones, but he couldn't get out of doing Magnum P.I. So I think it worked out for the best. Harrison Ford's another one of my good-looking dudes on my list of good-looking dudes. Justin Timberlake's on the list. Zac Efron. All the chicks that are millennials love that guy. Paul Newman.
Yep.
Paul Newman, Mr. Blue Eyes. Anyway, well, I'm going to get back on the women because I want to give equal time. I just wanted to talk about some of the guys. Are there any other male stars you want to talk about in music or sports or anything that you think should be on the list?
I mean, I think a lot of rock stars just because of what that represents. Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, was a sex symbol for sure. Elvis Presley.
Oh, of course, Elvis. Yeah, the king of rock and roll. Yeah, Jane Seymour has always been a girl crush to me. Becky says, Becky Ross Smith. And there's some. I never liked Erin Andrews though. Do you know who Erin Andrews is? She's not ugly. She just doesn't turn me on. I must be crazy, and believe me, I am crazy. I'm nuts. But I just never really found Erin Andrews that appealing. It's her voice. I don't like her voice at all. Yuck.
Oh, hey man, okay, talking about voice, and you'll know her. The movie Romancing the Stone.
Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Good call. She destroyed herself with alcohol. But yeah, let's talk about her heyday. And Body Heat.
Dude, her voice. I mean, she could be reading off like a grocery list of like broccoli, biscuits, and you'd be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I want to get some
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her voice was, I mean, and she, is a very attractive female. But like in her heyday, yeah, she was a contender for sure.
No doubt. Couldn't agree more. And about the Eliminate John, you mentioned that physical. Couldn't stand it when she got that short boy haircut. And that music video, it showed them two dudes, going off hand in hand. It was kind of controversial at the time. She tried to downplay because in the UK, they weren't going to play that song. They thought it was too sexually suggestive. Let's get physical horizontally, blah, blah. Some of the lyrics were too much back then. What about today? You know what the number one song? WAP. You know what that stands for? Wet ass pee. I can't say it, but that's what's okay these days.
Oh, dude, they were
To put it in perspective.
At the Christmas party, for the job I was working at the time, they had that like blaring, and like there's all these girls like, dancing on the bar, listening to WAP, and I was like, wow, it is a brave new world.
Right. Yeah, you're in Athens, Georgia, for those that don't know. That's a serious college town. It's like one of the number one party college towns in America.
Yeah, it is.
And you're in the epicenter of that, WAP.
Yeah. It's shocking at times.
So many Facebook comments, people chiming in. John Lombardi says Claudia Jennings. Wesley Millsap says, hey, Frank Sinatra's the original Blue Eyes. Absolutely. I was just saying Paul Newman has some blue eyes that kind of pierce you on the screen. Not in a, look, I'm a heterosexual male. Not in a strange way, but, I mean, I got to admit, the guy's good looking. I mean, that's why he's on. Let's see. Oh, Wesley likes Erin Andrews. That's okay. I just don't like her voice, No disrespect, Wesley. Becky laughs about your using the term jiggle TV. She's laughing about that. Alan Sanders is tuning in. He's a WSB talent. He's the regular fill-in host for Eric Erickson on WSB, the blowtorch of Atlanta radio, 100,000 watts, I believe, on FM. I don't. He's got some comments I'll read. Well, anyway, Danny, continue. Is there anybody else you want to mention? I'm going to get back to my list in the interest of time in a moment.
I mean, there's so many. I'm thinking about like music, about like.
It's a broad topic. Get it? Broad. It's a broad. Never mind. Stupid joke.
Like Lady Gaga. Is she a sex symbol?
That's the eye of the beholder, my friend. She can be sexy, I think. She can be, sure. I think Katy Perry is certainly sexy. Even that Kesha's sexy. Kesha? Huh?
To me, like something like Lady Gaga tries too hard to be sexy, where somebody like Katy Perry, just sort of has it, without trying too hard.
Sure. Yeah, man, I agree. Well, there's a lot of Facebook comments. Get on Facebook when you get off this call if you can, and look at all the discussion. I'm trying to keep up. Michael Hopkins, Barbara Eden is someone I think is still stunning today. Yeah, she's paid for it. She's paid for it. That's good. I'm glad she's still with us. I don't want to jinx anything. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Well, I'm going to let you...
Not literally, because I'm... Never mind. As I said earlier, I don't... Never mind. What were you going to say?
I'm going to let you go in case anybody else wants to,
okay.
call in.
All right.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's a very interesting topic. Well done.
Thanks. It's a lot to cover. It might be a two-parter. But listen, I'm going to get with Al and plan next week's show. We have that big guest. We're going to talk about animated feature films like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Fox and the Hound, going back to Fantasia. That's our topic.
Hey, we talked about her like Jessica Rabbit?
Yeah. Kathleen Turner. I believe so. Someone out there confirm. I'm not. I think so, but I'm not 100% like I am about most of the things I say on the show.
I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I'll let you go, dude. Great show.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny, everybody. Danny. And I will see you soon, hopefully next week. Let me talk to Al, and maybe you can drive up next Sunday, huh, to Al's place.
Oh, I can totally do it.
All right. I will talk to the man. We'll figure it out. Thanks, brother. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. Enjoy your time off. I know you're off till Wednesday, right? Enjoy. Thanks for calling. Danny Cochran, everybody. Let me get back to my list in the interest of time. Got some comments. I'm sorry if the phone call was a little low. I think it's that I'm loud. I think that it's not that the call is low. It's that I am loud. So, getting back to our topic, we left off with Raquel Welch. I'm going to mention some that our callers have mentioned, but I've got some facts that I pulled. Okay, I mentioned that she was in Bewitched. All right, Brigitte Bardot. Oh, yes. Born September 28th, 1934 in Paris, France. And she's still alive, knock on wood. She was married 4 times. She's high maintenance. The 4th time since 1992. 1 child. And she's a big sex symbol for the late 1950s into the 60s. And she's a singer as well, and a big animal rights activist, just like Bob Barker, the original host of the new version of The Price is Right, which started in 1972. Bill Cullen was the original host of The Price is Right in the 60s, early 60s, but I digress, when it was on NBC. All right, so Brigitte Bardot stopped acting in 1973 because, let's face it, she married rich. Good for her. And she got recognition, of course, for And God Created Woman in 1956. Anne Margaret. Did you know she was born in Stockholm, Sweden, but she moved to the U.S. in 1946? She married Roger Smith in 1967 and was married to him until his death in 2017. So, hey, that worked. She had a successful marriage that lasted. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Ooh. And she has, let's see, she's a winner of 5 Golden Globe Awards. And the Golden Globes, for those who don't know, that's an award from the foreign press. I'm sure most people know that, but let's see here. She was nominated for 2 Grammys and 2 Oscars, as well as 6 Emmy Award nominations. This is Anne Margaret we're talking about. Now, I liked her. Oh, and her career began in 1961 as a singer. And didn't I mention she was born April 28, 1941? I liked her in Tommy, the movie with The Who. Roger Daltrey and Elton John's in it, and the pinball wizard Tina Turner. Oh, man, I love that movie. And, of course, she's known for Viva Las Vegas with the King, Elvis Presley, Bye Bye Birdie, and Grumpy Old Men in 1993, and Grumpier Old Men in 1995, the sequel. And in 2010, she won an Emmy for a guest shot on Law and Order Special Victims Unit. But I loved her in Tommy in 1975, and she is a ginger. Number 7 on my list, Elizabeth Taylor. Oh, my goodness. What a superstar. Born Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor, February 27th, 1932 in London, England. She died, sadly, on March 23rd, 2011 in Los Angeles, California. And she was married, this could be a record, 7 times, starting with Conrad Hilton Jr. of the Hilton Hotel Empire, Paris Hilton's relative. She was married to him for only a year, 1950 to 1951. He was her first victim. Let's see, the last marriage was a curious one. It was a construction worker named Larry Fortensky in 1991 to 1996. She has 4 kids, but of course Richard Burton is the love of her life, I think. Not that I know, but I think that was when they met on the set of Cleopatra and all those movies they did together. Just they had a bond that could never be broken. And he died in 1982, Richard Burton. But let's see. Oh, get this. She co-founded an AIDS research foundation in 1985. That's pretty cool. She died at 79 years of age of heart failure. And she was a teen star, as everyone knows, in National Velvet in 1944. And she really gained notoriety as an adult actress with Giant, with James Dean in 1956. That catapulted her into another level of her career. And, of course, she was in the Tennessee Williams production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Cleopatra with, of course, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof had Paul Newman. Cleopatra. And then, but you remember this, in 1981, she did a stint on General Hospital, the soap opera, General Hospital. And it broke a ratings record for General Hospital. 30 million people tuned in on November 16th and 17th, 1981, to see Elizabeth Taylor portray Helena Cassadine on General Hospital. And I remember that the husband, Cassadine, of her character, tried to freeze St. Charles, which is their fictional city, I guess, in the New York area. There was a science fiction storyline I loved. John Colicos from Battlestar Galactica, Baltar, played the dude trying to freeze Port Charles is the fictional town, I believe, in General Hospital. Audrey Hepburn, she goes in my cute category. She was born May 4th, 1929 in Belgium, and she died in 1993 on January 20th. And she died in Switzerland. Let's see here. Oh! Did you know Audrey Hepburn was the first actress to win an Oscar? The first female actor to win an Oscar, Audrey Hepburn. That's a pretty cool accomplishment. And she, of course, comes from the golden age of Hollywood. And she was an international star. She's in the International Best Dressed Hall of Fame, actually. Roman Holiday was her big break in 1953, as well as Sabrina. Boy, and what about that remake with Harrison Ford? I call it Suck-brina. It was terrible. But the original Sabrina 1954 was great, as was Breakfast at Tiffany's. We'll sing to you in Japanese. That's a Queen song. Do you remember that lyric from the song, Let Me Entertain You, Let Me Entertain You? Anyway, I can't sing worth a flip, but Freddie Mercury, yeah, look up that on YouTube. There's a funny line. We'll sing to you in Japanese. Breakfast at Tiffany's, we'll sing to you in Japanese, whatever. All right. She was married twice, 2 kids, and 1 partner. And what the heck? Yeah, and she died of cancer, sadly, at the age of 63 in 1993. Lauren Bacall. Lauren Bacall, with that sultry look and that sultry voice, born September 16, 1924 in the Bronx, New York. She was a model at first. Her film debut was in To Have and Have Not in 1944 at 19 years of age. She passed away August 12, 2014 of, it doesn't say. Well, anyway, she died, sadly, August 12, 2014. And, of course, she was a big part of film noir back in the day. And she married Humphrey Bogart from 1945 to 57, was with him till the end, until he died of cancer of the esophagus. And then she married Jason Robards from 1961 to 1969, had 3 kids, and she was also a Broadway actress, earning 3 Tony Awards and 1 Golden Globe. But I liked her in the movie called The Fan, about an obsessed fan from the early 80s, I think 1981. Kind of a, not a slasher movie, but a horror movie, suspense movie, I should say. The Fan with Lauren Bacall. Not to be confused with The Fan with Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro, The Fan. Let's play some effing baseball! Remember that scene? And he throws a knife. There's some rabbi walking by and he throws it. It's a weird movie, weird scene. Continuing on, this is someone that our friend of the show, Barry King, mentioned, Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly, royalty. She was born November 12th, 1929. She lived until September 14th, 1982. She was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by the way. She died at 52 years of age in a car crash, just like Mansfield. And she died in Monaco. She quit acting in 1956 to become a princess of Monaco. Oh, how lovely, at age 26. She didn't need acting anymore. She left that in the rearview mirror when she married this prince. She graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in 1949. Best Actress Oscar winner for The Country Girl in 1954 with Bing Crosby. She, of course, was in High Noon in 1952 with Gary Cooper, another good-looking dude on the male side. And she did Hitchcock movies 3 in a row. Dial M for Murder with Ray Milland, Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart, and To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant. And she did a lot of live TV in the Golden Age, but she died in a car crash. Really sad. Yeah, and she married a prince, so she was royalty. Got another one for you, and I'll get back to the Facebook comments. There's a lot coming in, guys. I'm sorry. I just want to get through some more of these before time runs out on me. I got to keep this to 90 minutes. Rita Hayworth, a successful pinup girl. She was born October 17th, 1918, and she lived into the 80s. She died May 14th, 1987, at the age of 68 of Alzheimer's, sadly. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 1980. And she's best known for Gilda in 1946 opposite Glenn Ford. She was a femme fatale. And she did a Technicolor musical Covergirl with Gene Kelly in 1944. And she was married to Orson Welles from 1943 to 1947. She was married 5 times. Another high-maintenance Hollywood type. High maintenance, married 5 times, 2 kids, probably bipolar. All right, Sophia Loren. Oh yeah. Another one that was mentioned by a great caller. Born September 20th, same as my dad. Happy future birthday, Daddy. Born September 20th, 1934. And in Rome, Italy. And she's, knock on wood, still with us. Sophia Loren, well endowed, and she's still alive. Born Sophia Villani. Cicilline, I can't even pronounce it. And she had 1 spouse. She married twice. Carlo Ponte Sr., 1957 to 1962. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Carlos Ponte Sr., she was married... All right, she was married to until his death in 2007, and she married him in 1966, and previously she was married from 57 to 62. So, Carlo Ponte Sr., 1966 to 2007. She was a Best Actress winner in an interesting category, non-English language performance for 2 women in 1962, and she was nominated for Marriage Italian Style. Sophia Loren. Honorable mention, Britt Eklund. She was romantically involved with Rod Stewart for a while, and she was Peter Sellers' wife from 1964, Inspector Clouseau, from 1964 to 68. She was born October 6, 1942, still alive, born in Stockholm, Sweden, so she's a Swedish dish. And she has 3 kids, and we salute you, Britt Eklund, and next up, Ursula Andress. Oh man, the first Bond girl. Born in Switzerland, March 19th, 1936. She's still on this earth as I record this live. She played Honey Rider in Dr. No, her breakout role from 1962, filmed in 1961. Released in 61 in England, released in 62 in America. And of course she was quote unquote she, S-H-E, she in 1965. And she was in Casino Royale, which came up earlier in this Podblast in 1967. Now get this. This is an interesting fact. She was in Clash of the Titans, which I like. Al Hardy and Tom Williams cannot stand it. We went to the Plaza Theater here in Atlanta and watched it about a year and a half or so ago on the big screen. They have like a live performance beforehand. And they had Medusa. Anyway, Ursula Andress played Aphrodite, the goddess of love, in that movie. But I didn't know this. She was romantically involved with the star of Clash of the Titans, Harry Hamlin, from 1979 to 83. Now, that movie was shot in 79, so right out of the gate, they had a red-hot affair. Love affair. And Ursula Andress, by the way, was married to John Derek, and we're going to segue into John Derek's lovely brides. He really hit the jackpot with his women, let me tell you. But John Derek, she was married to, Ursula Andress married to John Derek, 57 to 66, and then involved with Harry Hamlin from 79 to 83 as a partner. You know, I thought he was gay. I thought Harry Hamlin was gay. I don't know. I just assumed that. Silly me. And he is now with that Rennie, or whatever her name is, with the fish lips, who had the lip injections that went bad. Anyway, Ursula Andress has 1 child. She never won an award. Big surprise. She's not much of an actress. She's just eye candy. She's not much of an actor at all. But she speaks, get this, French, German, Italian, and broken English. I'm kidding. Now, John Derek, so that was his first wife. Then he married Linda Evans. Oh, yes. Now, she could be in the cute and sexy category. Born November 18th, 1942 in Hartford, Connecticut. She was married to John Derek from 68 to 1974. And then Stan Herman from 75 to 79. And Yenny. She was Yenny's partner, the musician Yenny, plays the clarinet or something, or saxophone. Yenny, from 1989 to 1998. Now, this is kind of cool. Linda Evans was on a show called Bachelor Father back in the day, like in the late 50s, early 60s. And John Forsythe was her co-star, and then she later would act with him in Dynasty, which I call Die-Nasty, the nighttime soap. Dynasty. Joan Collins was in it as well. Ooh, Joan Collins might be a sex symbol, I would say. Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, Linda Evans was in Big Valley with Lee Majors in the 60s, the Western. The Western Big Valley from 1965 to 1969. Now, we got to talk about Bo Derek, who I chose in my social media post promoting today's show, from 10 with the cornrows. Bo Derek, born Mary Kathleen Collins, November 20th, 1956, a day before my birthday, the 20th, on the 21st. Anyway, she rose to fame in the movie 10 with Dudley Moore, Jogging on the Beach, good film. And then she was in Tarzan the Ape Man and Bolero, which was kind of a controversial, like NC-17 movie, a soft you-know-what movie, Bolero. And she, of course, won no awards of any kind for her acting. But I liked her in the comedy, not Black Sheep. God, I wrote it down. She did a comedy movie with, it was a Good Salesman movie, where she played, God, what the hell was that movie called? Hang on. I wrote it down, and I know it. I can't think right now. But she was in a movie with Chris Farley and David Spade. They were a good comedy team. That's an upcoming topic we're going to do, comedy duos. But God, what was that one called? Where she played a person that married John Dennehy's character. God, it was man, Dan Aykroyd's in it. Oh hell! Someone tell me in Facebook land. I know what it is. I'm just having a brain toot. Yanni is pronounced Yanni. Anyway, Anne Francis is a good one. That's a good one, John Lombardi. But let me get back to this. I just can't remember the name of that doggone movie. It was a great salesman movie from 1995. Not Black Sheep. Oh. Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy. That's it. Tommy Boy. I love that movie. So, and the funny thing about her, I think I'm going to go over time, over 90 minutes. The thing about her that's kind of cool, not cool, but she was a dropout, a high school dropout. She dropped out of high school at age 16, and she was on David Letterman in 1985. Still have it on video. And she says that, she just wasn't interested in school. She would skip school and go to the beach out in Malibu. That was her thing. And her mom caught her and got really mad. And she just finally dropped out. She ran out of excuses, and I guess the teacher's notes caught up to her. But she hated school. Bo Derek hated school. Not much of an actor in the talent side, but look at her. She's gorgeous. She is gorgeous. Can't forget Bo Derek. So, continuing on. Lull, awkward silence. Farrah Fawcett, that BK mentioned, Barry King of BK on the Air. Born February 2nd, 1947 in Corpus Christi, Texas, and she died on June 25th, 2009, on the same day as Michael Jackson. She got upstaged. She also got snubbed by the Oscars in the In Memoriam segment. They did not acknowledge her, and she did do some movies. Not some great movies, but she did a movie called Sunburn, which I have on film, and Saturn III. She was actually naked and topless. In Saturn III with Kirk Douglas, a science fiction movie. Saturn III. Not widely distributed, but she also got her start on I Dream of Jeannie. She was Roger Healy's girlfriend. Yeah, like he could bag her, in real life. That's totally scripted stuff right there. I love Bill Daly, but he was about on par with my looks. He's just kind of an average guy or sub-average like me. But his character on the 5th season of I Dream of Jeannie was dating Farrah Fawcett's character. Did you know that? Before Lee Majors, before any of that. So, she married Lee in 1973. They were married until 1982. The tragedy is Ryan O'Neal, Lee Majors' best friend, was bagging Farrah behind his friend's back. Not allegedly. I've heard this from the sources, from the horses' mouths themselves. But Ryan O'Neal, I guess, picked up the slack. And there's all this bad press about Lee Majors. It's such BS. Like this Mary Murphy writer, I can't stand her with TV Guide, or was with TV Guide. She always put it out there that Lee Majors wanted Farrah home for dinner, so he made her quit Charlie's Angels. No, it was over contract negotiations. That's such BS. They always trashed Lee Majors as being the reason she quit Charlie's Angels. He was tired of her never being home to cook him dinner when he got home from the set of the $6 Million Man. I don't believe it. So, as I mentioned, she was snubbed by the Oscars. Pissed me off when that happened. And seriously upstaged by the death of Michael Jackson on that very same day, June 25th, 2009. She was battling cancer for years, since I think 2006, and she was with Ryan O'Neal from 79 to 97, and then she was with a guy, Greg Lott, from 1998 to 2001, then back to Ryan O'Neal, 2009, until his death. It said video interrupted. What the hell? This thing better not go down. All right, so, John Lombardi says Dawn Wells. Oh, yes, and Farrah on my list was in Logan's Run. Great call from John Lombardi. Yes, she was in Logan's Run. And she, of course, was Jill Monroe in season 1 of Charlie's Angels. And she came back in the later seasons making a guest appearance. It was in like the deal to get her out of her contract. To get out of her contract, she had to agree to do some guest appearances, which, of course, boosted the ratings of Charlie's Angels. Another honorable mention, Roxy Roker. I'm not trying to neglect African-American women. Believe me, I'm not. All on my list. Roxy Roker. Now, this is kind of a strange one. She was the mother of Lenny Kravitz, the musician, and she was in The Jeffersons. She played Mrs. Willis. I thought she was kind of sexy with long hair. She would dance and move. I found her sexy. Call me crazy. I don't care. I thought she... Oh, another... Oh, gosh, I'm digressing here. But Farrah Fawcett, Wesley Millsap mentions a movie I liked, Man of the House with Chevy Chase in 1995. He says Farrah Fawcett, in addition to her Charlie's Angels role, was also known for a role in the movie Man of the House, as correctly stated by Wesley. So Roxy Roker, really liked her a lot. Honorable mention. And she was married to Cy Kravitz from 62 to 1985. And, of course, she was on The Jeffersons from 1975 to 1985. And then she retired from acting after that, pretty much. She was on 227 and a few other shows. But, you know, that was pretty much it after The Jeffersons for her. But, oh, and her mom was from Georgia. And she was born, by the way, in Miami, Florida. Beyonce, born Beyonce Giselle Knowles, or born Beyonce Giselle, I'm sorry, Knowles I think was her husband at one time. She was born September 4th, 1981 in Houston, Texas. Of course, she was in Destiny's Child. She sold 17 million albums in the USA and 75 million worldwide and counting. And, of course, her singles were big, big hits, some of the best in music history on the charts. Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It. Oh, one of the best-selling singles of all time, as Kanye West declared when... on the MTV Music Awards, I think it was 2007 or 8, when he got up there when Taylor Swift was being honored, and he goes, "Whoa, you gotta honor Beyonce! She's the best of all time!" I love Kanye West. He's a character like me. Oh, Heather Thomas behind me. And this see this poster behind me, anyone watching on Facebook Live or YouTube? That's Heather Thomas in the pink bikini. Oh, and before that, of course, getting back to Farrah, her poster sold millions, and it looked like it was a cold day when that poster was taken in her one-piece golden brown bathing suit. But that was a high-selling, record-selling poster for Farrah Fawcett, and so was Heather Thomas's poster. Danny Cochran, friend of the show, his older brother Tim had it. I never had it, but I have it now. It's right there. It's right there behind me. Anyway, in that pink bikini in the hot tub, and she was known for The Fall Guy, but also Zapped. And she was not nude in that movie. They used a body double. There's a scene with Willie Ames' character turning out the lights, putting the moves on her, and he turns on the camera, that cad, to take a picture of her with a flash. He cuts the lights, and then you see a flash of some nudity. It's not Heather Thomas. And then later in the movie, you see the photo, which is kind of uncool of him. He just holds up the photo to her boyfriend, and he's like, "You son of a bitch!" But that wasn't really her boobs. But, Heather Thomas. Okay, so she was married a couple times. She's married to Skip Brittenham currently since 1992. He's an entertainment attorney, so she's taken care of, man. She's high maintenance. She's taken care of. She doesn't need to act anymore. But she did write a story that sold to, I think, Touchstone Pictures, but it was never produced as a movie. But it was a big contract, high, mid six figures, I think, almost $1 million. But it was called School Slut, about a high school tramp. But Heather Thomas, she's smarter than you think. And her family, there's PhDs in her family. Her lineage, boy, some distortion there, sorry. Her lineage is pretty great, Heather Thomas, in terms of brain power. A lot of PhDs in her family, brain surgeons and stuff like that. But she went to Santa Monica High School, class of 1975. Born Heather Ann Thomas. I just love her. I think she was one of the sexiest TV stars of the 80s. Underrated. Everyone likes Heather Locklear, as do I, and she's on my list. But I think Heather Thomas had the better body, better eyes, just the perfect looking woman back then. And I have every Fall Guy on 16mm film I collected over the years. And I never ever did anything inappropriate thinking about Heather Thomas for what it's worth. This is not a creepy show. I'm trying to keep this real. I'm just telling you, don't listen to Howard Stern. Not every guy does that sort of thing to their movie stars. Morgan Fairchild, moving on, in nick of time. Born Patsy Ann McClenny, 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 in Dallas, Texas. Another Texas woman. Oh, well, let me just finish for her. I just thought of another one. It's not on my list that popped into my head, who's also born in Texas. She was born February 3rd, 1950. And she was in The Seduction I mentioned earlier, a movie that Samantha Livingston, my fiancée at the time, my fiancée, she made me, she made me get rid of that movie, Samantha Livingston, because it was about a stalker, and it was creepy. When I put together this background for those watching on Facebook Live of stars, there's Clint Eastwood listed for the ladies and some of the women, Linda Carter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I thought this is going to look like a stalker shrine, especially if I have too much Heather Thomas, because I have a lot of still pictures of her, so I didn't want to seem like a stalker creeper. But I do have a collection, though, but I'm definitely not a stalker, believe it or not. Although I did stalk Chelsea Handler once. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. Morgan Fairchild. Yeah, she quit acting in 1998, and she married. She was hit by a car. This is a cool story in 1986, and they said she'd never walk again, but she walks just fine. She recovered. Heather Thomas. That's one of my favorites. And then Morgan Fairchild. Yeah, known for Flamingo Road, a soap opera from back in the day, and The Seduction, which was a pretty weird movie, man. Andrew Stevens played the stalker. And there was a lovely young lady in love with his character. He didn't open his eyes. If he saw the love interest that was literally in front of his face, he wouldn't have gotten shot in the stomach with shotgun shells by Morgan Fairchild's character in that movie. The character would have lived happily ever after. Let's see. Thank you, Wesley. Says, Chance, you're not creepy. Michelle Pfeiffer. Ooh! Thought of another one. Well, I'm all over the place here. The other one from Texas I was thinking of is Lisa Welcher. Now, a lot of people like Joe on The Facts of Life. I love Lisa Welcher. Blair Warner. She's born in Texas. I think she's extremely sexy. And again, when I was a kid, okay, look, on that show, she was a teenager. I'm talking about when I was that age, of course. Not now, when I was that age. But she was born in Texas as well. And she's on MeTV's Collector's Call, where they look at collections. I wish she'd come here and look at my collection of stuff. But it's on MeTV, which I like. So, moving on, Michelle Pfeiffer. Oh, and Markie Post. Honorable mention, Markie Post. Is there anyone sexier than Markie Post back in the day? I don't think so. She had guest starred on Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, and yes, Aaron Gray's on my list later. This is going to be a long show. I've tried to keep this to 90 minutes for Stefan. It's Inside Baseball. I need to keep it, for my purposes, 90 minutes to convert to an MP3 from a video file. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'll have to figure something out. Anyway, Michelle Pfeiffer, born April 29th, 1958, in Santa Ana, California. What a career. What a career. She married Peter Horton in 1981 until 1988. Of course, I loved her in Scarface. What a look in that movie. And in Grease 2, which gets dissed all the time. I liked her singing Cool Rider. And I know an on-air personality on Fistful Radio, Kara Stockton, she likes that movie as well. She talks about it sometimes, as does she talk about one of my other hotties, Joan Jett. Joan Jett, which I'll get to in a moment. But Michelle Pfeiffer, then after Peter Horton, she married the mogul David E. Kelly. Boston Public, Boston Legal, all those TV shows. They married in 1993, and they're married to this day. Two kids, and Michelle Pfeiffer is a Golden Globe winner. I loved her in Batman Returns as Catwoman. I thought her character was very, very sympathetic, a sympathetic villain. And she was much better segue as Catwoman than Halle Berry. Halle Berry, another sexy actress born August 14th, 1966 in Cleveland, Ohio. And I met her. She lived in Atlanta for a time. She'd been married 3 times. First to David Justice, a former Atlanta Brave. And I worked at Fountain Oaks Kroger in East Cobb County. And I was just like a bag boy, college job years ago in the 90s. And she was there, and I said, can I get your autograph? Sure. She signed stuff. She was so sweet and nice. And David Justice was nice, too. And he has a reputation for being kind of a jerk. But David Justice was nice. They were together, just shopping at Kroger like average folks. Didn't have any help. Let's see. So Halle Berry has been married 3 times. As I mentioned, Gabriel Aubry is her partner now, presently, and she has 2 kids. Honorable mentions, Linda Fiorentino from, she's been in a lot of movies like Vision Quest. She had bad 80s hair in that, but I liked her a lot. More presently, Sofia Vergara, right? Did you know that she is the top paid actor 7 years in a row until 2020? She's the highest paid actress. Yeah, Sophia, right? From Modern Family. I love her. And I met her also, sorry about that, on the set of The Three Stooges in 2011. We shot near the governor's mansion here in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 14 days at a mansion in the heat. No air conditioning in the summer. I was wearing a camel hair jacket. I've told this story before, but she was there, and she was so sweet, and so was pretty much everyone in that cast was great. The Three Stooges remake, the Farrelly Brothers comedy. Pretty funny. You should check it out. So I love Sophia and Linda and Jane Badler. from V. She played the head lizard alien. She should have been a bigger star. She moved to Australia. That's part of the problem. Not problem, but I guess she didn't really want to pursue acting. But she did a Mission Impossible TV series after V, a short-lived show in the early 90s, I think 1990 or something, and maybe late 89, 1990. Did you know that? Yeah. And she moved to Australia where she is now, and she's a singer. But I love her. I love her look as Diana, the lizard. I just think she's gorgeous. She was kind of like a hotter Margot Kidder in Margot Kidder's heyday. I don't know. She just had something that really turned me on about her look. Really love her. So continuing on my major list, Elizabeth Hurley. I think she's underrated. I love Elizabeth Hurley. And the tragedy, she should have been a Bond girl. Why the hell didn't a casting director cast Elizabeth Hurley as a James Bond girl when she was in her heyday? Elizabeth Hurley, born June 10th, 1965, married twice. Married to Hugh Grant. How about Hugh Grant? Boy, what an idiot he is. He got with a prostitute, got caught, and that cost him his marriage to Liz Hurley. She was born in Hampshire, England, and she has 2 kids. I just love Liz Hurley, and I wish she were a Bond girl. I mean, it's not too late. She could be the new M or something. They need to put her in a Bond film. She's 55 presently, and she looks fantastic. Sybil Shepherd. Sybil Shepherd, a model turned actress. I loved her in Moonlighting with Bruce Willis. I didn't really, when I say I loved her, I didn't care for the show, but I liked her. I liked watching Sybil Shepherd. I think she's just a classic beauty. And she has 3 kids and 2 marriages, born October 8th, 1950. Jacqueline Bisset, honorable mention from The Deep. Who could not forget that wet t-shirt in that movie, The Deep. Erin Gray, born in Honolulu, Oahu, in Hawaii. And she was married to Ken Schwartz from 1968 to 1990, and she was an Ultra Bright girl. I have a commercial she did for Ultra Bright toothpaste in the 60s on television, but she was a model, just like Elizabeth Hurley. And fun fact about Erin Gray, allegedly she was a lesbian at first, and then she went straight. Isn't that interesting? I mean, I think that's cool. You know, I guess it's not a switch hitter because she's with guys, but that was a story. And the story I always heard growing up, I think this is probably BS. This is like schoolyard BS. But someone told me, because she changed her hairstyle from blonde, dirty blonde, to hard brunette between season 1 and 2 of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. And the rumor was when she was a blonde, she was a lesbian. And then when she went dark, like in Silver Spoons, her later show after Buck Rogers in the 25th Century with Rick Schroeder these days, she was a brunette. And that's what they say. I don't know if it's true. And I met her in 2006 at a convention. Had dinner with her. Face to face, we're talking about her modeling days. Very approachable, very nice. She's on the convention circuit a lot. Any guys out there that are nerds that like to collect autographs and the like, she's always at Dragon Con. She's cool. All right, I got to pause for a minute before I mention Phoebe Cates. Another 80s bombshell of the movies. Of course, best known Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Private School that I mentioned when Danny called in. But Phoebe Cates, born July 16th, 1963, is just a classic beauty. Phoebe Belle Cates. Her middle name is Belle, B-E-L-L-E, like a Southern belle. And she's been with Kevin Kline since '89. 2 kids. Been married to Kevin Kline, the comedian, since 1989. They're still going strong, so great. Another honorable mention, Jessica Biel from Seventh Heaven. I just think she's so smoking. And she is married to Justin Timberlake. And they have a family together. I think she's great. Carly Simon, You're So Vain. And The Spy Who Loved Me, she sang that for the Bond film, which Barbara Bach starred in. And I mentioned earlier, who was still married to the Ringo Starr. But I love Phoebe Cates. So another one, Joyce Randolph. She's almost 100 years old. But I love her as Trixie on The Honeymooners. And I think she is just beautiful. And I'm going to read all these Facebook comments, guys. I'm going to go through before the end of the program. I'm way over 90 minutes, and that's fine. I'll stop saying that. We're just going to go until we stop because there's so much to cover. But I will read each and every comment. Joyce Randolph is Trixie. She was funny. The writers wrote her as a former burlesque dancer, and that was Ed Norton's wife. Hey, Norton, when I bend over, you start blinking. That's another joke from Eddie Murphy. Very inappropriate. But, excuse me. Joyce Randolph is Trixie. I just loved her. I thought she was gorgeous. You look at some old kinescopes, if you know what that is, they would videotape a monitor when it was live in the 50s. They didn't have videotape. Well, they were developing it. But she would, Jackie Gleason paid to have the monitors filmed, right? And that's what a kinescope is. It's a film print of a live show. That's how he preserved it. And then he, quote unquote, lost them. And then the lost episodes of The Honeymooners came out. Years later, in 1984, he sold them to Showtime Networks for a mint. It was like his retirement fund. He just kept them in a vault all those years for like 30-some years. And they only had the classic 39 in syndication, 39 Honeymooners prior to that, which were recorded on film and were not live, but they were in front of a live audience. So I love Joyce Randolph, the way she looked then. She was so pretty. And it was kind of unbelievable. I guess that was part of the joke. How could this sewer worker, who doesn't have a whole lot of money, bag that woman? You know, I guess that's part of the joke. But I love Joyce Randolph, and she's the only surviving original Honeymooners cast member. Gosh, please stay alive. Stay alive. Moving on, Sigourney Weaver. I know this is Fistful of Radio on-air weekday talent. Shannon Burke's one of his. He talks about a lot. Sigourney Weaver and how he really lit his fire when he was a younger dude. But she was born in New York City, and she's been married to the same guy, Jim Simpson, since 1984. I like that. One child together. I like that. Sigourney Weaver, Aliens, and I liked her in Galaxy Quest, the comedy from the early 2000s with Tim Allen. That was funny. And she's just a hottie. What can I say? And I liked her in the Working Girl. She was the nemesis in Working Girl. Well, not really a nemesis, but she was in that with, I thought of another goodie. Don Johnson's ex from Working Girl, Melanie Griffith. She was pretty sexy for a while. I mean, when she was acting. I'm not being an ageist. I'm just saying when she was acting, yes, she was sexy. Rebecca Romaine. Oh, yeah. Born in Berkeley, California, November 6, 1972. 2 kids. She's with Jerry O'Connell since 2007. And she was with Uncle Jesse, the other Uncle Jesse. Blackie, his character on... what's that dude's name? On General Hospital. John Stamos, for goodness sake. Rebecca Romaine Stamos for a while in the X-Men movies. And she's best known, I guess, for playing Mystique in the X-Men movies, the Blue Girl, before Jennifer Lawrence took over that role. The Mystique, who could, the shapeshifter, could transform from life form to life form, kind of like Maya in the old Space 1999 season 2. But I like Rebecca Romaine. She's another model turned actor, and she always is exciting to watch on the big screen or the small screen. Got a couple corrections from last show I want to get to. We did a show, or I guess I did a show, about Mother's Day and about famous moms in TV and film. And I forgot to mention Roseanne. I guess she'd be on my good mom / bad mom list. She's kind of both, right? But I should have mentioned Roseanne, and I didn't. And I really just didn't really mention Peggy Bundy enough from Married with Children. I guess she would be a bad mom as well. So I wanted to mention that. So let's see here. Olivia Newton-John in Grease, as Danny mentioned, absolutely. Tell me about it. Stud. I love that scene. She was poured into them pants, right? Into those pants. And, boy, she couldn't have liquids because she said herself in an interview it was such a task to get out of those pants. She was literally sewn in there. She could not go to the bathroom. Jacqueline Smith, Joan Jett. I got to tell Joan Jett's story and get a little serious. Good buddy of mine passed away, Larry Hutchison. I really, really liked him. He was a former next-door neighbor of mine. And he passed away from complications due to diabetes. And just a solid guy. And how this relates to Joan Jett is I remember a good memory of Larry. God bless you, Larry. Been depressed, man. Is that he attended the taping at Six Flags Over Georgia of the music video of Do You Want to Touch? The Gary Glitter remake. Okay? And that was shot at Six Flags Over Georgia. Look it up on YouTube if it's still on there. The copyright D-heads and D-bags are taking things down from YouTube, but hopefully it's still up there. But look up Do You Want to Touch, which is a remake from Gary Glitter, as was her remake of Clemson and Clover. She did a lot of remakes. And I like, of course, I Love Rock and Roll, but she's just a sexy. She still looks great. She's still performing. I've seen her in concert several times. I just love her. I saw her at Music Midtown and some recent concerts up in Alpharetta, Georgia. But she's still rocking and rolling. She's a badass chick, okay? In shape. I hate people say okay, and I just did it. But Joan Jett's a good one. And that music video, Larry's up there. I know where to look. You won't know where to look. But he's wearing a white shirt, and he's clapping away. Do you want to touch? Yeah! Do you want to touch? Yeah! Do you want to? Anyway, you know the damn song. Great song. That should have been an anthem at a football game. I think that song's underrated. That should be up there with We Will Rock You and Queen. I think that is just a kick-ass song that gets the crowd riled up. Do you want to touch, Joan Jett? Diana Rigg. She passed away recently, about a year ago or so, and she was a British star, of course, on The Avengers with Patrick Macnee. Not the comic book The Avengers, but the British, my foot's falling asleep, television program. As was Honor Blackman, another sexy British star who played Pussy Galore, I always get tickled when I say that, in Goldfinger, the third James Bond movie. Pamela Anderson. Are you kidding me? Baywatch, the ultimate babe. She's plastic for sure. She came down from Canada and just really hit it big as the first Tool-Time girl on Home Improvement with Tim Allen. Loved her, and she quit that show soon thereafter. I like Barbed Wire. Remember that one? But Pam Anderson. And, of course, we remember the video with Tommy Lee that got leaked. Got, quote-unquote, leaked. Who knows what happened there. But Pamela Anderson, she is definitely a siren and a sex goddess up there with Heather Thomas in my mind. Another mom I missed, Wesley Millsap mentions. Good one. Patricia Richardson from Home Improvement that I just mentioned. Hey, we're on the same wavelength, Wesley. That just popped up. Barbara Eden, who we mentioned. Good one. The Price is Right, Barker's Beauties. All right. Now, Pluto TV is airing The Price is Right. Bob Barker aired for the first time since the original airings. And they started in the 1982 to 83 season, and they're airing 24/7 with commercials. You can't on-demand it. It kind of sucks. You got to watch the commercials and watch it in real time live, unless you get a DVR. I think Michael Hopkins told me they make one for what's that little device? Roku. For Roku. There's a Roku DVR. I need to get one of those. But they're playing that, and Diane Parkinson. She was my favorite Barker beauty, and she was the blonde, and she was gorgeous, and she did a lot of other stuff. She posed nude. I mean, let's just be honest, in Playboy. But I don't even have that issue. I've never even seen it, but I just know about it. But she was just gorgeous. Another one, Susan Anton. Do you remember her? Susan Anton was a personality, and one of our on-air personalities in Atlanta radio, and really he's pretty known all over the country. The Kimmer, Kim Peterson, he has a story he tells about Susan Anton, meeting her and interviewing her. And she's really tall. And she was with Dudley Moore. Wasn't that an odd couple? He's a little dude like me, and she's like, like an Amazonian. She's tall. But I love Susan Anton. One I didn't care for, but I respect, Diane Cannon. She's like the L.A. girl, She did a Pink Panther movie and a bunch of other movies, but she's like an L.A., Los Angeles, California personality. She didn't turn me on, but I think she's certainly sexy. No doubt about it. Linda Ronstadt. Hello, Linda Ronstadt, sexy. We can just leave it at that. You know the songs. The girls from Heart, the band Heart. Eartha Kitt, the other Catwoman on Batman from the 60s. Eartha Kitt and singer, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. Lena Horne, gorgeous. Oh, man. I remember her on Sanford and Son, and Red Fox's character, Fred G. Sanford, he went out to meet Lena Horne, hid in her dressing room. That'd be stalking these days. He's like, Lena Horne, I'm coming to Georgia with this 8x10 in my hand. I just love Lena Horne and Sanford and Son. Got a contest I'm going to announce later in the show, a little tease, giving away some stuff. So we're going to announce that in just a little bit in the show. Suzanne Summers. Now, Suzanne Summers actually did commit, for a while, career suicide with the producers of Three's Company. She demanded more money than John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt. And let's face it, she was a big part of the rating success of that show. But John Ritter, on paper, was the star. He was supposed to be the star, John Ritter. But then she took off, and Alan, okay, that's her manager husband. The story is he screwed it up. He screwed up the negotiations, and he's to blame with Suzanne Summers departing from Three's Company. It got so bad, allegedly, they put her in her own soundstage making a phone call towards the end of her run on Three's Company because the stars like Joyce and John didn't want anything to do with her, supposedly. And John Ritter, of course, sadly died in 2003 of a heart valve issue, which is really sad because he was allegedly, supposedly, by many people that really knew him, a very nice person and certainly a talent, great physical comedian. But and I liked her ads for Ace Hardware. I put one on our Facebook page. By the way, give our Facebook page, I can't say a like, it's a group. So would you join? You don't have to answer any questions like some Facebook groups make you do. Please join our Facebook group, The Nostalgic, with a C, Nostalgic Podblast. One word, Podblast. Please join that. We're doing giveaways. What's in it for you? We're giving away some stuff. If you still have a DVD player, that is, or a CD player, we're going to give away some movies and DVDs and and compact discs. Because we're old school, right? Hopefully you still have those devices. My car, I have a 2015 Audi. It still has a CD player in there, and I'm glad it does. I'll tell you what do. Oh, Lisa Bonet. Gorgeous. She was so pretty on the Cosby Show, and she was married to Lenny Kravitz for a while, and she was the daughter-in-law of Roxy Roker, one of my top sexy actresses on TV. Elizabeth Montgomery for sure. Dorothy Stratton. Let's talk about Dorothy Stratton's tragic case. She was a playmate. Here, I have her Playboy right here. For those looking on Facebook and YouTube, you can see it if you're on fistfulofradio.com. Hit up and subscribe to the Nostalgic Podblast on YouTube. For the same reasons, because we're going to give stuff away. That's what's in it for you. You're going to get free stuff. I'm serious. Ask people. I've mailed out sets of Room 222, which is a classic TV show on DVD, to a winner. Bunch of other stuff. But I'm holding up Playmate of the Year, Dorothy Stratton, 1980. She was killed. She was the subject of the movie Star 80 by her jealous boyfriend. I don't know if it was her ex or current. Just a total psycho. Snuffed her out, and she got her big break. She was discovered. I was going to say she got started in Dairy Queen. She was discovered working in Dairy Queen. Dorothy Stratton, and she appeared in Buck Rogers in the 25th Century in an episode of season 1 of that program, acting. And she wasn't much of an actor, like Bo Derek. She was eye candy, right? Ratings draw. That's what she was. But she wasn't much of an actor. So that's her collectible Playboy Playmate of the Year issue, Dorothy Stratton. Rest in peace. Left this earth way too young. Susie Chapstick, honorable mention. That was a TV ad campaign. I had a crush on Susie Chapstick. Remember that? I'm sure BK on the Air has played that commercial on his show, and I'll play it on ours one day when I get back to Al's studio and play clips properly. But Susie Chapstick was great. Got another one in the sports world. This is a whole team of women. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Hello. I mean, that's a touchdown right there. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, for years, they've had a reputation to uphold of having the finest women. The finest women. Rick Clark says, did she get roofied? I don't know who you're talking about. I thought he said, did he get roofied? I thought he was talking about me. No, he said, did she get roofied? Anyway, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, they had the best cheerleaders in the whole country in the NFL. And they have maintained that reputation. Nothing against the Falcons in Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons cheerleaders. Well, yes. Actually, there is something against them. They're not as hot. They're not as hot as the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, okay? I know I sound like a sexist pig, and I don't care. I think the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are great. They're great. The Landers sisters. Audrey Landers, who was on Dallas for a while. Let me tone it back and get a little hyper. And Judy Landers, who was on BJ and the Bear Season 3 as Stax, the truck driver. She's well endowed, so the writers, aren't they clever? They named her character Stax. But the Lander sisters, they were classy. They wouldn't do nude stuff. Good for them. They were in Playboy just on the cover together. But Audrey Landers was a strawberry blonde, kind of a ginger. And then Judy was the blonde. And she did the game show circuit for a while, appearing on Match Game and shows like that. Yeah, good stuff. I don't know if we should mention. I guess we will. I'm not trying to get naughty, but we'll mention some like visual aid. But I'll mention Vanessa Williams, Playmate of the Year. I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm all screwed up. Vanessa Williams was Miss America 1984 before being crowned because some old nude photographs came out and were published, sadly. And I remember that happened to Vanna White, too, although she wasn't nude. I mean, she was wearing sheer negligees, and you could see things, but it wasn't really nude. But Vanna White got really mad and sued over that. Just like Madonna. I don't think Madonna sued. Madonna had photos that came out of her hairy underarms. Remember that? Like in 1985, when she was trying to make it before her singing talents were known. She did some modeling. But anyway, I'm holding up in my hand the Penthouse issue that got her dethroned. This is actually the reprint of it. I have the original, but fun fact. Now, guys, this is trouble, okay? In the original issue of Penthouse, I don't know if I should say this, there's a pictorial of Tracy Lords, okay? And she's on my list. But I'm not into that dirty stuff, really. But it must be known, we're a historical show. This is an educational program. It's a fact that Tracy Lords lied about her age and did adult photography and adult movies, which are now illegal. So if you find the original Penthouse, most of the time the pictorial Tracy Lords is removed. She was 15 at the time. It's not activity. It's solo stuff, but she's fully nude, and that's illegal. So you won't find that copy. That's the interesting factoid about that Penthouse issue. It's the issue that led to Vanessa Williams being dethroned and had the Tracy Lords photo shoot in there. So it's highly collectible, and it's trouble. Kim Basinger. She was Georgia's own for a while. She didn't she own Brazelton, Georgia? I think she did, or she was the mayor. No, she owned it. Yeah, she lost money. She bought all this land in Brazelton when she was connected with that Alec Baldwin guy. Alec Baldwin. But I'm holding up a copy of Playboy. I just have a few. I am not really a collector of Playboys. I just have a few notable covers, sealed in plastic, mint condition. If you know what I mean. No. But that's Kim Basinger, and of course I loved her in Batman, the first Batman movie that Tim Burton directed. I thought she was fantastic in that film, and she was in a James Bond movie, the last one that Sean Connery did, Never Say Never Again, and that was a Warner Brothers movie, not a Broccoli movie produced by the Broccoli team, which Broccoli, not the food, but the producers. They did all the original Bond movies, like Harry Saltzman and Broccoli. Cubby Broccoli's his nickname. But in 1983, there were two Bond movies, Octopussy, the name of the movie, and Never Say Never Again. And Kim Basinger, that was her first big break in acting. She had actually a pretty good role in that film, with Sean Connery returning as James Bond 007. And they went head-to-head at the box office. MGM's Octopussy, and then Warner Brothers distributed Never Say Never Again. And they couldn't use the Bond theme, so the music, it's all like a bass kind of theme, a nondescript musical piece. It's not the James Bond theme because they couldn't get the rights to the music. Nastassja Kinski, Cat People, the remake of Cat People. Do you remember her? She had a sultry look, very, very sexy. That movie freaked me out. Cat People, where this guy's arm is ripped off when he gets close to the cage with the panther in it, and the panther just rips his arm clean off. That gave me nightmares for about a year. Oh, I'm going to post this on our Facebook page. On the back, there's a Ghetto Blaster ad. I'm sorry, that's what it was called then, of a Panasonic. I'm holding up for the camera. Bad radio. May 1983 Playboy with Nastassja Kinski on the cover, and on the back there's an ad. What do you call it? A boombox. Thank you. I'm sorry. A boombox. Forgive me, guys. I'm not trying to be rude with that Ghetto Blaster, but that's just what we called them back then. That's when there was breakdancing, electric tube, boogaloo, and all that jazz. I lived this. I'm old. But there's Natasha Kinski. Just for the camera, Barbara Bach, who I mentioned earlier, Ringo Starr's wife, holding up an issue of Playboy where she's on the cover. There you go. And the last thing I'll say about Playboy in terms of sex appeal is Patty McGuire was Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter, got in trouble. That was his sin. Like he had done an interview and he said, well, Patty McGuire, I had lust in my heart. I had lust in my heart, he says, over Patty McGuire, who was Jimmy Connor, the tennis star's wife. Patty McGuire, and she was Playmate of the Year, I think 1976 or something. And anyway, there you have it. So I got another one. This is kind of obscure. Catherine Schell. She was Maya in Space 1999. I know probably 3% of anyone listening knows who that is, but she could transform her character into different life forms on that show, and I thought she was very, very attractive. Catherine Schell, and I have several autographs. I met her in person in New York City, Labor Day weekend 2000, about a year before 9/11, and she was there. She flew all the way from France, where she lives, and she was a Bond girl. She was in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. She was one of Blofeld's women in that, and she was in Return of the Pink Panther and other acting roles, and she's in a recent production too. She's acting over in England. I think she was in Downton Abbey or something. I know Barry King knows, BK on the Air. He talked about it on his show. I forget, but she's in something recent, and she just finished shooting that during COVID. But Catherine Schell, I just think she's gorgeous, even with that makeup. They put this makeup on her eyebrows, look like Cocoa Puffs cereal. These little round modular things right there on her eyebrow. Now I'm going to set up our contest. Bear with me. I think I'll read some Facebook comments first, and then we'll get to the contest. Lol, lol, lol. It's hard doing this alone. But Al had to stain his deck. Okay, let's get caught up here. All right, Wesley Millsap says Roku calls it Roku Ultra Player. That's the one with the DVR. My parents have 2 of them. I use the Roku streaming stick. Okay, cool. Good info, and I'm going to look into it, Wesley. Thank you. Carolyn Monroe. That's a good honorable mention of a sexy star. She was in a minor role in The Spy Who Loved Me as well with Barbara Bach. She was with the underwater car. Remember? Not in it. That was Barbara Bach, but she's in a scene with the underwater Lotus. God bless America. I'm getting really mad here. Eva Green. Let's just read through some comments here. Yeah, Sophia, I mentioned her. Sylvia Crystal, she did some R-rated adult movies. Susan Lucci, Michael Hopkins says. That's a good one. She finally won that Emmy Award. And let's see. I'm going to play some music while I read the Facebook comments. Or not. So, let's see, we have a lot of comments coming in, actually. I appreciate everyone watching. Now would be a good time to go to the bathroom, if you have to go. All right, let's start. At the top, I don't know if I can see them all, but Dan Neal says, take it easy, guys. Have a great show. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work, Chance. Well, thank you. I'm trying. Wesley says Priscilla Presley as Jane Spencer. I mentioned that earlier. Let's see. Becky Smith. Oh, dang it. Alan Sanders says, my wife's get out of jail free card is Colin Firth. All right. You can give us a call, by the way, at 770-438-1050. Let's see here what we got in the comment section. Listen to that Price is Right background music. Al, I need you, buddy. I can't pronounce this, Wesley. Amanda Balinar? Balinis? Amanda Balionis, sports interviewer and sideline reporter at CBS Sports and CBS Golf. Yep. She's attractive, no doubt. I know you're talking about, I just can't pronounce her name. And you mentioned Erin Andrews. Disagree there. That's okay. Life would be boring if everyone thought the same way, you know? Jane Seymour has always been a girl crush to me. I think I mentioned that. Becky Ross Smith. Claudia Jennings. Good call, John Lombardi. Claudia Jennings. And this, who was it? Margot Hemingway and her sister. Margot Hemingway and Mariel Hemingway. Honorable mentions there from back in the day. Jane Seymour was great. She was on Battlestar Galactica as well. She was introduced in the James Bond movie Live and Let Die, the first movie with Roger Moore. Yes, this has been reported. I don't know if this is a meaning thing. It's not really pop culture related, but and speaking of Athens, Georgia, the Varsity Athens location will be closing its doors. Yes, I'm sad about that. As long as the one stays open at Town Center Mall, which is probably going to close as well, I'm good. So the Varsity, just so you know, anyone out there not in the Atlanta, Georgia area, it's like a 1950s style hamburger stand. It's the Varsity, you know. It's like, it's comfort food. It's grease, but it's comfort food, you know. Onion rings, French fries. Not as good as out in California. I'm all mixed up today. Not the Outback. There's a place in California. It'll come to me. I'll think of it in a second. I'm doing too much at once. Yeah, and there's one in Dawsonville too, right, Wesley? There's a varsity in Dawsonville, where Dawsonville Pond is. Let's see. Yes, someone confirmed. Our friend James Tim Walker, who is an animator with Warner Brothers, who'll be a guest next week on the Nostalgic Podblast, he mentioned that Kathleen Turner did the voice of Jessica Rabbit. Thank you, Mr. Walker, and I can't wait to interview you next week. He's got a great story to tell. And he also commented, again, turn this down, it's kind of loud, isn't it? My favorite sex symbol from the Hollywood movies. My favorite sex symbol from the Hollywood movies, Red Riding Hood, to text every cartoon anime by Preston. I can't read it. Preston Bailey? Oh, good one. Tanya Roberts, John Lombardi. Rest in peace. She recently passed away. She was the Bond girl in A View to a Kill. Oh. Tex Avery. Yes, Tex Avery was the animator who drew Droopy, one of my favorites at MGM, and some Tom and Jerry. But Red Hot Riding Hood by Tex Avery, animated by the great Preston Blair. Yes, sir, Mr. Walker. Tim Walker, author and animator. Wesley says again, Tanya Roberts known for her roles on both Charlie's Angels and That 70s Show. Correct. What about Tawny Katane? Yes, she passed away. And Tawny had been talked about so much from the host during the weekday on Fistful of Radio and all over radio and entertainment news that I didn't want to mention her, but we just did. Why not? Tawny Katane, absolutely. Absolutely. And what about the other one? Who was the one? Jessica Hahn, I think, yeah, who was with the guy who died in the car wreck, the comedian. Say it! God, Sam Kinison. Remember her? She was kind of a tramp, but she I remember her too. She was Sally Field, goes in the cute category, John Lombardi. But she's definitely attractive, no doubt about it, and a very capable, of course, an awesome actor, Sally Field. Did you mention Brooke Shields? Yes, Michael Hopkins, I did, talking about briefly, but let's expand on her. I really liked her in Tilt. This is a movie Samantha Livingston turned me on to, which I'd seen in my youth, but I forgot about. And it's about pinball, and I have it, and it was really, really a fun little movie, and there was a line in there that always stuck with me. And the line is, pay as you go, and you never owe. That's true. You'll never get into debt if you live within your means and pay as you go. That was a line in that movie, Tilt. But she also did The Communion, which is a horror movie, otherwise retitled Alice, Sweet Alice. Freaked me out. Oh, and Pretty Baby, controversial movie. I won't even go into much detail, but Pretty Baby was, I think, one of her first films, Brooke Shields, and man, that was kind of a sicky movie. I'll just leave it at that. But I liked Tilt. That was innocent fun. And then I liked the horror movie, which really freaked me out. There's a scene where someone's in the shower or it's raining and their toes get cut off. I'm sorry, with the big butcher knife. It's so gross. But the movie's called Communion, and it's the scariest mask. I can't imagine this mask as a COVID mask. It's like this demented clown mask is the mask of the killer. And Brooke Shields is in that movie. And, of course, The Blue Lagoon, Christopher Atkins, which had been ripped off back in those days by a couple different movies. One with Willie Ames, it was terrible. It was a rip-off of that movie. But Blue Lagoon, I watched that a lot. All I mentioned, Michael, is I mentioned in passing when Danny called in about Blue Lagoon and watching that a lot when it was on cable. So, good call, Michael and Wesley. Ava Gardner, Mr. Walker says. Let's see. I'm sorry I'm so late to get to these comments. My southern accent's showing there. Yep, I know, Wesley. Carly Simon sang The Spy Who Loved Me. That's correct. So good. Yeah, I think we're all caught up. Now I'm about ready to announce our contest. Let's see. Oh, Rick Clark is talking about Lena Horne, about the roofied. The roofied comment. But yes, Vanessa Williams is a fantastic singer. Everyone knows that. I saved the best for last. What a song. I love her voice, and she's so beautiful. I think she's probably mix of white and black. I don't know, but she's very beautiful, just like from Cosby Show, Lisa Bonet. I think mixed kids are some of the most beautiful kids of all. Actually, let's see here. We got a contest to announce, so let's announce it. Let's see what you can win. Win. Giving away every episode ever made of the old Lost in Space show. Now, that might be kiddie stuff to you, but do you have kids or grandkids that might dig it, that have a DVD player or a computer that'll play a DVD? Because I'm giving away every single episode. Uncut for the most part. And I'll hold it up for the camera. This is the Season 3 theme scored by legendary John Williams, known as Johnny Williams in those days. That's the Season 3 theme, but I'm holding up for those watching on Facebook and the Nostalgic Podblast Facebook page or YouTube, the DVD set of Season 1. And they also will get Season 2 and 3. 83 episodes plus the unaired version of the pilot. It's going to be yours. And if you answer this trivia question, and it's not really anything you can Google, it's something I said in a previous Podblast, but I'm not going to make it too hard, okay? I'm not going to make this too difficult. Here's what you got to answer. Okay. There was an episode that George Lucas really took the hyperdrive concept from with the Millennium Falcon. When it goes into light speed, it's driven by a hyperdrive, and it goes into hyperspace. Well, there was a Lost in Space episode that referenced this principle of hyperspace and the hyperdrive, okay? What's the episode title? What's the episode title that talked about the hyperdrive? You have to know this show or talk to someone that knows the show. But you tell me the name of that episode, and you get every episode of Lost in Space ever made, and I will send it to you, and it'll be yours. And we're going to do a contest giving away some Fall Guys stuff, too. Again, this is for people that are into DVDs. You know, I stream, I do Blu-ray, I do 4K, but I still have a DVD player, and I have a computer that'll play DVDs. And I may even furnish you a portable DVD player. How about that? Not this time, but it's coming. I have a new portable DVD player, and it has a little monitor. You can take it to the airport. You can take it with you. It holds a charge for a long time, and you can watch DVDs. I think that's a pretty cool device to have. I don't even know if they still make them anymore. But you can have it, all right? If you don't have a DVD player, you will now. So that's Season 1 through 3 of Lost in Space. I was going to hold up for the camera, but it's kind of hard to do a show and focus on the camera. And besides, we're an audio program mainly. Well, I'm going to sign off, I think. I think I'm caught up with the comments. I appreciate everyone watching today. And next week, I do want to comment on one more thing, actually. I have one more thing. I don't have the music that Al would punch up, but one more thing. No, I don't like listening to myself talk. I really don't. I hate my freaking voice, but I'm nuts, as I said earlier. I am crazy. The new movie Ultraman was announced. I didn't know it was animated, as Barry King mentioned when he called into the show earlier, but it's going to be an animated movie, so it might do well. I thought it was going to be live action. And holding up for the camera, a parody comic, Ultra Klutz from 1986. Was a parody of Ultraman. It's a Japanese show from 1966 that Turner aired on Saturdays, but I like the Space Giants better, and that's the movie I want to see. I won't go on and on. I've already talked about that enough, but I think the Space Giants as a live action movie, more so than a cartoon, I think would do well if it was done right. I think it would appeal to kids, since one of the kids, Gam, was like a superhero, and he could do cool things, and he was someone you blew this whistle, and he would come in a rocket, in the form of a rocket, and transform into like a robot rocket boy, as they said on the show. And he was cool. He could destroy the Lugo men who would melt and turn into blue oatmeal when they were hit with his gamma ray from his football helmet. It literally was like a football helmet they put antenna on, the prop guys. It was low budget, but I really loved that show, and I used to race home to watch it after school. After school on TBS. It would air at 4 o'clock, and then the Flintstones would come on after that. Anyway, I used to race to get home. And my mom was a teacher, so a lot of times she'd have to stay after to do after school work. And I was like, I want to go watch Space Giants. Briefly, we attended the same school in Sugar Hill, Georgia. Whatever. That was ancient history. Another reminder next week, here, the author of this book I'm holding up for the camera. It's called Shaken Not Broken: An Artist's Journey Through Hell. And that's by James Tim Walker. And look him up on YouTube. He's been interviewed by some big mainstream media outlets, and he's one of the Brotherhood of the Popcorn, Woody Wise's organization out in California. It's not really an organization, it's a group of friends that some have connections in the industry and some are just regular guys that get together to watch movies. And I was told that June 15th they're going to get together for the first time in months, in over a year, to watch movies once the ban is lifted in California state about COVID, the COVID restrictions, where they could travel. And these are primarily older gentlemen. I think Tim is the youngest of the troop, and they can only have so many members, and they have to wait, sadly, until someone passes away, like my dear friend Larry Hutchison, before someone new on the waiting list can be inducted into the Brotherhood of the Popcorn, their group. They're movie lovers. But he wrote this book, Shaken Not Broken: An Artist's Journey Through Hell, and he is a phenomenal artist. He's drawn for Warner Brothers. He has pictures of Fred Flintstone, and there's some nudes in here, which are really cool and attractive. I don't want to show too much of his art. You know, you can't really see on my little camera anyway, even though it's HD. But he'll talk more about it next week. And Al and I are going to interview him from the fabulous Al Hardy Studios. And I think we're going to try to do it at 3:30. We've had some technical glitches, I think, that Al's got worked out. But we're going to go for our regular 3:30 start. I was late today because I was still doing some last-minute research for today's show. Wesley says, Chant, you have an awesome voice. Thank you. I disagree, but that's nice of you to say. And I'd like to meet you someday, Wesley. And it always makes me happy when I look at the Facebook comments and I see Wesley saying, checking in from Ackworth. I love that. That makes me feel good to know someone's watching out there. And anyway, hope I wasn't too boring by myself. And there's so many more. I know I couldn't mention every starlet, every sex symbol, and everyone has different ideas of who's sexy and who's not. And I was going to kind of go, not really negative, but say there's some sex symbols that are overrated that really aren't that sexy in my opinion. But I jettisoned that idea. I thought, let's just try to stay positive. And I hope I gave enough justice to the dudes. But we did mention men. Any ladies out there tuning in late, we talked at great length about male athletes. Another one I don't understand, from Maroon 5, Levine. He can sing. I guess he's sexy. I don't think that man's good looking. He's all tatted up. Nothing against tattoos. We got a lot of people I like have tattoos, okay? I prefer women that don't have a tramp stamp. That's just me. Okay? Nothing against it. Usually you're more apt to score if there's a tramp stamp on the person you're trying to score with, in my experience. But I digress. Yeah, I didn't think Adam Levine from Maroon 5. I don't get it. You know, I think it's the musician. If you can play a guitar, then you can win a woman's heart, you know, or a dude's heart, or whatever you're into. You know, if you're talented, it can override looks, just like a sense of humor. When I first courted Samantha, she told me it's your sense of humor I like, and she goes, when you're not trying to be funny, you're funny. When you're trying to be funny, you're not. So anyway, that's just what Samantha says. So we'll be back with Al next week. I miss you, Al. Hope your deck looks great. You sent me some pictures. His deck, he's staining himself because he's cheap. I'd say that as a brother, because I love you, Al. Just kidding. You are cheap, though. You know it. But he's doing it himself. And also, you know, I think he likes to do projects, keeps him busy. So, you know, he thought he'd be done yesterday, but he wasn't. So that's where he's at. Nothing's wrong. We'll be back next week. And Tom, still working. He's a real man. Let me tell you, he's working so hard. He's been out of state, bouncing around like a pinball. I think he was in Texas, but he's doing these jobs on the side, in addition to Weather Channel TV jobs, like good-paying jobs to pay the bills. So he's been preoccupied with that. But, you know, we're going to get the band back together, certainly Al. And next week, with Al's permission, Danny will be with us to talk about animated features with our special guest, who's going to call all the way from Hollywood, California area, Tim Walker, to talk about his book and his story. I can tease a little bit that basically he was afflicted with a serious health condition which impaired his talent, his ability to draw, and he overcame that. So it's really inspirational. It's a good story I think you're going to want to hear. And again, we're going to talk about animated movies to keep it pop culture and on topic with animation. So thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the Nostalgic Podblast. And I don't know how I'm going to get this audio to Stefan for Fistful, but well, it'll have to be on YouTube. I'll figure something out. Catch you on the flip. Stay out of trouble. Stay safe out there. Have a great week. We appreciate your support. Please tell your friends to join the group, The Nostalgic Podblast, on Facebook, and subscribe to the Nostalgic Podblast YouTube channel. It's important. And we're going to do contests like this giveaway of Lost in Space so that you have an incentive to join. All right? Thanks a lot, man. Peace. Is this thing still on? Jesus. Am I still on? Oh, Lord. Cut. Oh, Lord. Wait a minute. How do I end this thing? Dang it. Shoot. Guess I'll just have to end it. Do I just go boop? Hello? Gosh, I don't know how to freaking end this thing. Oh, this is funny, huh? Is this thing still on? Oh, jeez. Gosh. Wow. I don't know how to end this thing. I guess it ended. It's still on! Help me, somebody! Oh, my Lord. Oh, wait. Okay. I don't know how to end this. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Christy Brinkley. Did I mention her? Christy Brinkley. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh, I think I figured it out. Jeez Louise, are you serious right now? Yeah. End.